Episode 2, Retro Spectacles, coming at you. I am Mitch Marzoni, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Mr. Teddy, Encyclopedia Blackity Black Tutson. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, phenomenal. We got the retro specs going right now. We got the revenge specs on right now, coming for everything that you love and then some. That's what's happening right now. Big payback. Shout out, James Brown. Let's get it. It is fascinating here that we've paired these movies together. I didn't realize when we did it, and maybe, you know, you were a little bit more on it than I was. Like, I knew they had some similar themes, overlaps, but I did not realize how connective the tissue was until we really got into it.
I would love to pretend that I'm that plugged into shit that I was like, yeah, man, 2 revenge movies, 2 crime revenge movies involving gangsters
and Lucy Liu, baby,
and Lucy Liu
here to turn of the millennium.
Yeah,
we captured the entire Do you know the Lucy Liu note section of your boys episode prep is extensive? Shout out Lucy Liu, you still out here doing it, killing it right now.
We're gonna get to all of that. I literally
you don't like a good tease. You don't like a good
started and stopped with. These are both action movies. I don't even think I'd seen Slevin when I paired them together.
Now, see, I think that's true. I don't think you had ever actually seen Lucky Number Slevin, and it had been a long time since I had seen either of them.
Okay,
but as I got into it, I was like, oh, this is setting up to be a perfect episode pairing.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, I'll kick it off. Let's start with Payback, 1999. Writer director Brian, I'm probably going to get this wrong, Helgeland or Helgeland?
I think it's Helgeland. We'll see.
There's
Helgeland.
an L in there. There's 2 L's in
Helgeland. There. Helgeland, let's call it.
Yeah, LGE is normally like a J noise, you know? A soft G. I don't know. What's interesting to me...
Helgeland. Let's do that. Let's say Brian Helgeland.
We'll call him Brian H.
We'll call him Brian.
The only thing he directed prior to Payback was a single episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Right. Fascinating, right? Fascinating that we were doing it like that. Like, you could just be someone who got a major Hollywood feature film with Mel Gibson, no less.
1999 Mel Gibson.
That's what I'm saying. We were talking about some runs over the course of this episode. You got the Mel Gibson run coming off the Braveheart Oscar, and Payback is in this. This is truly Mel Gibson. I would say kind of the wheels are maybe starting to fall off a little bit. They wobbling, all right? They wobbling culturally. But at the box office, he is still crushing it.
Yes.
And it is definitely no small feat to have your, directorial debut be with Mel Gibson. Now, that said, Mel Gibson was not thrilled with your boy, Brian.
I got that in the notes. Yeah. Go ahead.
You saw that? Yo, man, basically, Mel Gibson was like, hey, I don't know who the fuck said this Brian guy was it, but he's not. How about we just go back and do the whole thing again? Brian.
I will quickly add, before we jump into all of the details, just that he wrote this, Brian H. wrote this, but before that, all he'd done was he was a part writer on a bunch of horror movies. Like, he partly wrote on Nightmare on Elm Street 4. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So this is quite a departure for him.
A little bit.
And lastly, as far as just very basic shit, 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, 46 on Metacritic. So we'll check back on that.
I'm not surprised to see a little bit of a difference between the Rotten Tomatoes Metacritic crowds. I feel like those are very distinct and different crowds. If we will be referring to them.
You think Letterboxd is going to be better or worse?
Oh no, I think Letterboxd is not, because I may or may not have Letterboxd. Hitting myself.
All right, we'll get back to that. I don't want to spoil it.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it now.
But look, here is, I'm curious before we get into everything.
All right.
Between us, right? We're in a slate of episodes here where we are kind of each picking one hidden gems, right? Yeah, putting them up against each other, seeing what we like, how they sort of hold up. So I'm very curious. What is it that appealed to you about Payback as your hidden gem? Because I wouldn't necessarily say you strike me as a Mel Gibson guy, but you don't not strike me as a Mel Gibson guy, considering that in this era of Mel Gibson, he was a lot of very different guys, similar guys.
I got 2 eyes and a heart, don't I?
When you cut me, do I not bleed just like you? It does not. I bleed Ransom and Conspiracy Theory DVDs shouting, "Give me back my son." I will say I did briefly mix up Ransom and Payback, and I have this in my notes literally where I was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely doing that. Because I was like, which one is the movie where he shouts, "Give me back my son"? But that's Ransom, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
That's definitely not Payback. So I was a little bit, once I got into it, like I would say within the first 15 minutes, I was like, no, that's definitely been clarified for me.
Yeah. I'd have
so
to.
No, please tell me. What is it?
I have to go back and rewatch Ransom. So first and foremost, this was off my radar. It wasn't. I didn't go see it in the movie theaters or anything like that. It wouldn't have. Generally speaking, you know me, I'm not an action film guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So incidentally, in 1999, or I guess it doesn't make sense to me that it would have been in 2000. I know where I was. I was living in Seattle. I had just gotten a new Mac and it came with a DVD drive. And I was like, oh, I can watch DVDs now.
This is fascinating that we get the lore about your whole life leading up to. It's funny, right? Like, what is it that brought you? Like, where was I? All right, let me sit the scene for Seattle. Yeah. I'm watching a little bit of Fraser Crane in the back.
Yeah, I lived in Seattle from June of '99 to June of 2000, or maybe July and July. I think it was July and July. But I went to a rental store that also sold secondhand DVDs with my roommate. And he goes, "Oh, they got Payback on sale for like $8. This is a movie.
So
you'd like this movie." And I was like, Mel Gibson action movie. No, you're going to like this. And I'm like, for $8, I wanted a DVD. It was the very first DVD I ever purchased.
Do you still have it?
I've still got it. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look out. Shout out to the physical media heads out here. When I tell y'all Mitch is an OG in the game. Gen Z, they out there writing about y'all in the LA Times, talking about how y'all like the disc in your hand and whatnot. You got to holler at your boy Mitch. He is true to this, not new to this. Just in time for you to come back.
Yeah.
What you got?
I will. I'm curious what rant I missed while I got up.
No,
I should have grabbed it ahead of time, but there you go. That's the one.
There it is, right there on the screen.
Get ready to root for the bad guy.
Pay guy. And now, see, that's fascinating because that tagline alone. Mm-hmm. When I was digging in and I was like, yeah, I see why Mitch fucks with this. Like, there were definitely a lot of things between the tension of, I'm looking at the Mel Gibson of it all. Uh-huh. And then I'm looking at the other side of the ledger and I'm saying, yeah, no, I absolutely see how this could be one of the things that Mel was able to touch Mitch's heart with. And part of it is, rooting for the quote unquote bad guy, right? Who is a bad guy? What is a bad guy? What does it really mean to be out here moving in these streets in the shadows, in the gray? Huh?
His main beef with Brian was he was like, look, if they're gonna root for the bad guy, you got to make the bad guy a little bit fucking likable. There was a scene in which he like violently beat the shit out of his wife, and he was like, I don't think we need that in there. There were a couple other things where he was like, and it reminds me.
He's like, I gotta set myself up for a redemption arc, Brian. I cannot just be unrelentingly terrible.
To that end.
I need a little John Wick.
To that end, I'm reminded of this classic South Park moment.
Say what you want about Mel Gibson, but the son of a bitch knows story structure.
And I feel like that's essentially what we're saying here.
Now, I will say this.
Uh-huh.
This is a segue. We will not depart too far. That is exactly why I came out of. That's why I came out of Flight Risk as disappointed as I was. Look, Mel, you done said a lot of grimy shit. You done a lot of grimy shit. But the one thing I heard is the guy can tell a story and put it together. I walked into Flight Risk with that POV, and I left with that myth shattered. Now, when Redemption of the Christ happens too, or Passion of the Christ 2 happens here, I hope it is closer to something of your previous Hacksaw Ridge efforts and not the Family Guy, you crazy Jesus, you crazy style that we would be potentially anticipating if you go in a flight risk-esque manner. But I digress. Since we're talking about Mel a lot.
I will not be seeing the Jesus movie. Didn't see the first one. Will not be seeing the second one.
You didn't see the first Passion of the Christ? We coming back. No Jim Caviezel, though, this time.
Thank fuck for that. I went to a live taping of The Dollop about Jim Caviezel. That was interesting. On Wikipedia, they're just saying that Mel Gibson and the producers decided to let Brian go. But apparently in multiple interviews, Mel Gibson's been like, so I fired him. Like, he's not, and the producers, he's like, that was me. That was me.
In true Porter fashion, Mel Gibson was just like, nah, I clapped that motherfucker up. Absolutely, that was me. I took out Brian. Were the producers there? Sure, some people were there, but that was me. That was all me. On Brian's
It's hard
ass.
for a man in my line of work to get what I call quality filmmaking.
Okay, so this tracks with the Mel Gibson and you both being like, look, you gotta give this guy a little sliver of something.
Yeah.
You're resembling human nature and decency to give you that arc. It's the whole ethos of how we're marketing the fucking movie, Brian. I got the posters already printed. The tagline is too good, dog. We're not really gonna back into a new tagline. You gotta back in a movie to a tagline, Brian.
I also love, I don't want to get too into the plot just yet because I have one or two tiny funny things about the split. First of all, I'm a big color grading nerd. I trend towards cool blues, like cooler temperatures, not the warm. Brian made his own Payback, finished it on his own several years later, called Payback Straight Up, that uses warm color grading, and he doesn't like
the muted palette,
and it is not
Brian
available for streaming. Anywhere on planet Earth.
Where would it be? Who gonna put it out, man? The studio gonna be like, thank you for your effort, Brian, but respectfully, we will keep the actual theatrical circulation.
Now, if you are familiar,
what kind of fucking Snyderverse? At least shout out to Zack Snyder. He got his shit out there, right?
Yes.
Like Brian is looking at Zack Snyder being like, damn, that could have been me. I could have got the Snyderverse cut. Release the Brianverse cut of Payback.
Well, if you understand this sentence, then you'll understand what I'm saying. This is mostly for the people at the home. If you sail the high seas, you can find it very easily, as I did.
Sure, yeah,
I would love nothing more.
International waters are fond of all comers.
I would love an opportunity one day to do a live show with you where we watch Payback Straight Up.
It's
in
a dream.
real time.
Put it in the. That'd be great.
Because I have no idea. The AV Club, however, put this on their list of movies improved by director's cuts and called it a market improvement on the unrulier original.
Interesting. I don't think there are a lot of those movies in the enhanced by director's cut. And I do wonder, right, like, to me, both of these movies sort of, if you're looking at, especially if Mel Gibson respective filmography, right? I feel like this one's kind of in the cult classic status of Mel's. It's not necessarily as big as some of the other ones, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the friction between him and Brian and the actual vision here. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's not lost on me. The following year, the year 2000, Mel Gibson essentially hits the streets with, what Mel do you want? I'll give it to you. You want the Mel Gibson with a heart. We ain't what women want. You want the man out here doing Braveheart. It's the Patriot. You want Mel Gibson for the kids. I'm doing Chicken Run. What do you want, baby? I'll give it to you. It's 2000. It's the new millennium. I do not have that many years left. Apparently, a ghost visited me a couple of nights ago, and I'm running on borrowed time here.
Is that what DMX's X going to give it to you is based on? The career of Mel Gibson in 2000?
Yeah, first we gonna rock, then we gonna roll. Oh, this man talking about the Patriot and Chicken Run. Which one is what women want? Where that come in? And now I
Mel's
think
going to give it to you. He's not going to wait for you to get it on your own. He's going to deliver it to you.
Mel's going to give it to you. He going to give it to you. First we go to Patriot, then we go to Chicken Run. What women want? Mel going to give it to you. He going to give it to you.
No notes, 10 out of 10. This is a free podcast, people. This is a free podcast.
That's it. Run it up.
So, opening scene, very similar to the Joker surgery scene in Tim Burton's Batman. But if you take from the moment he's starting to talk, you see his face, starting to talk, not like seeing his back and he's doing the voiceover. I'm saying from the moment he comes up the stairs until he does a single nice thing is got to be 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a nice little. I wouldn't call it a montage, but as an opening,
he steals a guy's title wallet,
sequences, but
he tips. He doesn't even tip. He does a $3. He puts $3 down on the countertop, so she has to go around and pick up the $3.
I'll say this
on a $2.98 bill. Takes her cigarettes and then grabs the 2 pennies.
I will say this before you really understand what is happening in this movie. You're watching a movie called Payback, right? We going back to 99. You're not out here watching on a DVD. You got this dude. He is grimy as fuck, son. And you're like, I don't know who's getting the payback here, but if it's you, I understand, dog. Like, you're moving real filthy. That line when the homeless vet is trying to walk again and he steals the money. And then he starts complaining, and he says, "Shut up! I cured you." Hilarious, hilarious for the right.
Yeah, that's that's how he gets the money to pay for the meal that he
right.
That he steals.
It's a nice little cavalcade of things there. I will also say it was fascinating to see the old credit card swipe machine and the old school receipt.
Yes,
what a slap in the face. To be like, wow, that shit was still really popping like that in 1999, and now you got the square, you got the taps, you got et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but if you're approved, if the bank is working like that. Yeah, in 1999, they were like, I guess we'll find out later.
You know what I mean? Like, it is crazy to see the societal leaps to real-time information, tracking, monitoring, et cetera, et cetera. But when you really talk to like the younger generations and you're like, no, people could just do things very differently. Like, even crime was very different. Like, I had a little bit of a crime buffer. You know what I mean? I could write a check to the grocery store, and then they were and that's why they had to be like, stop writing checks at the grocery store. We had a little bit more time to do crime.
I got a few directions I want to go on that tip.
On the crime tip?
Well, one thing was interesting that I forgot about that I was like, oh yeah, I did used to do that, is that the only thing he needs to pull $300 out of the bank was to show an ID of not him. But he looks enough like the guy. He's like, all white dudes look the same. I'm close enough. Who's going to,
take advantage of it? Sure, absolutely.
I'm not pulling out $300,000. I'm pulling out $300,000. No. There's not a lot.
That's
of
enough that I don't need. That's enough if I squint and I look alike to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a full-fledged put the card up against your face.
Within a year or two of this movie, that was not a thing you could do anymore. You walk into the bank teller, and before you said hello, they'd say, scan your card, type in your PIN. Yeah. Like, you can't even, hi, my name is, I don't care. Use the machine right there before this is over. The moment you can't do that. You can't walk up. I got my ID here. I'd like to make a withdrawal. They're like,
absolutely not.
You can suck on my dick all day.
Now, go ahead, please. I will.
The only if you want a sidebar story, I can tell you a bank fraud I pulled off in 1996, 7.
Well, as long as you're not incriminating yourself, I think everybody would love to hear about your little dabbling forays, statute of limitations. Law don't mean shit right now in this country, huh? What? Law and order.
I don't think there's any laws right now, so I think we're good.
There are laws. We just don't give a fuck about them. Tell you what, the wrong person hit that tripwire. Them laws will be activating. Okay? Please go ahead. Tell us about your dalliance with crime.
This is not my dalliance with crime. This is just a bank fraud related thing that you could get away with in 1997.
That's exactly the way that you should phrase it. That's exactly the way you should dress it up. 100%. Right. Under legal advice.
So it was my first bank account, fresh out of high school, first job. And I remember it was my first apartment, everything else like that. I was just thrown into adulthood. Didn't have much of a choice on that. My mom moved out of the house I lived in with her and was like, find a place to live. This house is on the market. Like, what?
Get yourself out there.
Yeah. And I remember my roommate coming home with a new tattoo, like a small like butterfly on her ankle or something. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And she goes, yeah, I had more money in a bank account than I thought I did. Which today, giant red flag. Sirens. I mean,
yeah.
If you're a younger person who doesn't yet have your own place, if your roommate ever says, I had more money in a bank account than I thought, something is very wrong.
Crime time.
Wrong. Yeah. Well,
maybe they aren't criming, but somewhere around them it's crime time.
Oh, I was just thinking you didn't account for the checks that you already wrote for the bills in this apartment.
Oh, I'm taking the much more nefarious side of the spectrum. You can have the hopeful.
I didn't at the time realize that she had clearly written checks for like the electricity that were now going to bounce because she.
You were talking about that, yeah. She wasn't. She had no idea.
I remember her saying I had more money than I thought I did, and I thought, really? Like we're both. Yeah.
We talking sliding doors here. Two different.
We're both 19 years old.
You got to figure.
I don't
it out,
have
kid.
surprise money in my bank account.
Yeah,
at 19.
Yeah.
So
though very few, if anybody does.
I believe the electricity did get shut off, and I had to go to the bank with a check from her to turn it back on, and they said we can't accept this check. This account has already bounced a check with us before. And I was like, oh, really? And that's when I found out that my bank account was in arrears. And I was like,
a word you never want to get familiar with.
No. And then it was like a Wednesday. I knew I was getting paid Friday. I just wanted like a meal and a pack of cigarettes. So $20, let's call it. Right. And I was like, I usually get paid, base amount at, whatever it was, $300, $400, whatever it was. And I thought, all right, what if I just put a slip of paper into the ATM and tell it that it's my check on Friday to get me out of arrears and then take out the $20. And then by the time they figure out what's up, the check will be in the account and I'm good. So I wrote, I owe you, literally on a piece of paper. I owe you $20. I signed it. And I deposited it as a check. And I said, oh, this is a $400 check. And they were like, okay, you're positive $64 in your account. And I was like, great. I'd like to take out $20. And the ATM goes, no. The ATM's like, you want us to just take your word that the slip of paper that we didn't
have. Believe you?
Yeah. In 1997, it wasn't scanning slips of paper. It was just like a check. I don't know. Somebody's going to look at it later. We'll figure it out later. And it was just like, no, you can't take out that money. So I thought, no harm, no foul. The bank felt very differently about that. And so that was the end of my bank account. I genuinely thought that worst case scenario, I thought they'd be like, oh, I get it. He did this so that he could take out $20. So we'll take out that $20 now. Cause and I'm all squared away. I wouldn't have stolen anything. Take the $20.
That's not how the bank sees it. That's not how transactions work at the bank, Mitch. That's not how they work at the bank.
I was just doing a 0 interest payday loan.
The other thing that I'm shocked that I didn't hear from you is and maybe it is a part of the reason why you like it, to bring it back to our introduction here, the neo-noir crime thriller stuff, right? That to me feels like between the rooting for the bad guy, that aesthetic thematic element, right? Which very much so also present in Lucky Number Slevin. I feel like you're getting that. And then to me, it's also interesting between that and our other selection. It kind of feels like you're towards the tail end of that neo-noir period. I think we'll talk about this more for Lucky Number Slevin because it happens, it's 7 years down the road. But I would imagine that's got to be compelling for you, right? As part of why you like Payback.
Yeah, again, aesthetically, it hits all the notes. And auditory, it hits all the notes. I love everybody's performance. I love the way Stegman's voice constantly cracks. The moment he has so many moments where he's like, I'm top dog, I'm the big dick around here. 3 seconds later, he's fucked. And he goes from, I'm gonna, oh shit, don't kill me. It's
top truly amazing. That was an era where you got really strong 90s villains. There was no ambiguity. There's a lot of stuff here as well. I thought about one of my favorites, The Crow. Just because you're getting a lot of that. I will also say that his wife, Porter's wife, on that heroin shit reminded me a lot of The Crow with, I think, Darla, who, is the sort of like Drew Barrymore lookalike from that movie, right? But that part is very fascinating to me. I think the thing about this also on the neo-noir side, right, is like Mel Gibson as a leading man is so fascinating to dissect in this period between, okay, he did Braveheart, right? And you're getting Ransom. You get the conspiracy theory pair up with Julia Roberts, and he goes back to Lethal Weapon. That's 96 through 98. Now we're 99. He's doing Payback, right? And then as a leading man, he's charming, but in a very distinctive way, right? I'm pretty sure there's that scene where he gets called a Cro-Magnon looking motherfucker or something like that, right? Am I making that up here? He says, he gets called a real Cro-Magnon looking bastard, right? Like, that is a hell of a description for the guy who is going to go and star in What Women Want the following year and become a heartthrob all over again, right? And the thing to me that's fascinating to jump back to present day is that so many of the leading men in the industry are what we will call, thanks to that New York Times trend piece, noodle boys. Are you familiar with the Noodle Boys?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you? So like you got all of these guys, right? Timothy Chalamet, no disrespect, Timothy, but you are definitely no Mel Gibson. You got Dominic Sessa, right? All these guys who are very just sort of, they're not as there ain't no Cro-Magnon looking bastards, all right? Let's sort of put it that way. So it's just interesting to see
I would have been a noodle boy.
Evolution of archetypes.
Had I been an actor at Timothy Chalamet's age, I would have been considered a noodle boy for sure. I probably would have been a little bit of a noodle boy in my younger days, but I think I might have phased out of noodle boyness. I would love to be in noodle boy shape now, but no.
You like to regress back to noodle boy.
I would love to.
So I think that's just interesting to me, right? Of like seeing him and how he presents himself with the sense of it's time to root for the bad guy, and him like, no, we can't have all of this shit going on like this, right? And then the next year you're essentially getting Mel Gibson family friendly Chicken Run, and then also Mel Gibson, the guy who all the women are like hubba hubba, right? Like it's just it's an amazing kind of through line here where it's like, hey Brian, he kind of had a point, big dog. Yeah. He kind of had a little bit of a reasoning advantage over you here, especially for making the movie in that way.
Oh, absolutely. What's also strange to me is when I went to watch it again last night, just to refresh my memory on things and enjoy myself. I found out that it was on it's part of the Prime Video package, and typing it in, they sent me to the director's cut, which was 11 minutes shorter. And I was like,
sent you to Brian's version?
No, it said director's cut, which I was like, which director?
Oh, who?
Is this the Gibson cut?
It's the Gibson cut. It is the Gibson verse cut, yes.
Yeah, but it's usually a director's cut is longer. This one was 11 minutes shorter, and I was like, that's weird. So then I just typed Payback into Prime Video, first party, and they had the non-director's cut, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm watching. Don't switch up on me now. I got to record a podcast tomorrow. I can't be fucking around with two different versions of Payback. I got to see the one that I'm talking about. You give me some alternate reality, I might be like, what? I don't remember this scene at all. So that means there are three versions of this film out there.
This is crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot of Payback. That's a lot. Everybody trying to pay each other back in the making of Payback with their own version of Payback. But yeah, like it's very fascinating. I would say the other thing, just since we're talking about some of the neo-noir stuff, right? When Porter comes home, I guess we're getting the flashback, right? And he's seeing his wife, and she got the heroin or whatever because she out here wilding on the streets. And then he's like, "All right, I got the heroin out the house, right?" And then old girl,
she immediately has a backup plan. She's currently high, and she already has a backup plan.
She's functioning crazy efficient, and not only that, she got the heroin hidden in the shoe. The
shoe she was wearing already.
I've never seen anything.
The shoe she went out that night wearing to get high on heroin already had heroin in it.
Incredible foresight, son. Like, if you're gonna go out the game, what a way to go out. Like, you're going out on top, upper echelon heroin user. Shit is incredible. I remember writing down why I saw that scene. I was like, this is astonishing. I was like, you didn't even see. Did you watch a lot of the America Undercover on HBO back in the day? Do you remember the series I'm talking about, the documentary series where they be out there really seeing people who were drug addicts and prostitution in Atlantic City and all the grimy stuff of how America really was, right? America Undercover. I saw some stuff as a kid I definitely should not have seen, son. Like, I saw some, you out here with heroin addicts, you watch them get kicked out the house, you watch them scam with receipts so they get more hair. Like, it's crazy. You really see how people live. I never saw nobody do that with the shoe, bro. I never seen in real life. I've seen so many grimy documentaries. Nobody ever came out the shoe with the heroin. She had the heroin burner in the shoe, like the little anchor holster. Son, this is incredible. Incredible. You deserve to OD. Nobody, like, ODs are terrible.
The needle was already done. Like, it was filled up. It didn't have a cap on it. Everything was already cooked. It's got the tourniquet in there.
What happened? She's like, if I were to go, and she did. She immediately. This man went to go lay down, rest his weary soul. She was like, bet, pow, there it is. Let's get it.
She's like, because he's like, honey, no more heroin.
Come on.
Like, and she hugs the
I'm
box.
back.
And he's like, come on, we got to give it up. You stop right now.
Which, first of all,
he leaves the room, and the first thing she does is, well, if there's going to be no more heroin, I guess I'll just take a lethal heroin overdose.
I guess I'll just go to the super high grade stuff. I'll just go to the fentanyl in my
black
shoe.
Tar all day.
But, like, does she know? Is she still cognizant enough to fake him out by being like, no, don't take the box. No. Being like, yeah, I got that black tar in the shoe. He gonna never see it coming. Do we think that she's operating at that level, or is she just like straight heroin glaze and then realizing, oh shit, I got the blippy in the shoe?
I always thought it was the latter, honestly. I always thought that
you just thought that she just came
she
to.
Like flat out was like, my heroin's wait a minute.
My heroin's gone. Wait a minute.
Like mid thought. Fuck, what am I gonna do about it? Yeah, hey, wait a minute. I got the show.
Yeah, that probably tracks. I don't think she's as Machiavellian in terms of plotting it out. Probably also given how high she is as well. It's just a real come to moment, and then that's a wrap for her.
Let's not also, while we're talking about the shoe heroin and the heroin problem, the literal next morning, he's woken up by the dealer dropping by to give her 3 more.
Oh,
the next morning.
Yeah.
The first thing he wakes up to is the dude like, yeah, I'm here for I got the weekly. It's her weekly.
I got the Hello Fresh. I got the Hello Fresh heroin here for you.
Like, it is later explained that's a weekly drop off.
They moving real.
She was like, all right, I'm high on heroin right now. He took my heroin back up. I don't know how I'm going to get any heroin. The next morning is when you're going to get more heroin.
If you just slept, if you just went to sleep, you would still be alive and you'd have heroin. Best of both worlds.
I'm saying
for you. Yeah. Best of both worlds. I don't feel like we get the triad as a villain in movies anymore like we did in the 90s, right? You had the triad, Chinese, Japanese, whatever Asian country you want to throw it in, right? Like, we just don't see the triad as a nebulous bad entity anymore. Okay. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're not. That was a pretty common. I'm immediately thinking of, for example, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm thinking of like several 80s movies with like punks and stuff. Whenever you're in the bad part of town, somebody has some nunchucks. That was like you're in the bad part of town. How do I know? That dude's got nunchucks. We're in the bad part of town. That dude's got a butterfly knife. That dude's got a switchblade. Yeah. That guy's got nunchucks. Yeah. Chinese gangsters were all over the place until about 2000. And then there was just no more Chinese. Then it was all Mexican.
And then you just don't see specifically the triad. Yeah, like we moved to a very different world, but like you just had like, even I will say too, right? Like Rush Hour, you have the triad.
Right. Yeah.
With Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, and I'm pretty sure in like Lethal Weapon 4, there's some triad stuff too with Jet Li or whatever, right? Like it just was there. It was just all in the air, and then suddenly that feels like it just is exhausted and vanishes by the time you get into the 2000s.
Now, when you said triad originally, I was thinking that you meant the triumvirate, essentially, that there's the outfit, the Chinese gang, and the cops. Right. And like all three of them are his nemesis. Like he's making enemies everywhere he goes.
Man, and pissed off the whole city, dog. You done really pissed off everybody.
He's got one friend in the entire goddamn movie. And that lady, I should have looked her name up earlier, but that actress, honestly, Oscar level performance, because she hits every note perfectly. And I want to, if you think about the task that was assigned her, she's got to be sexy, vulnerable, powerful, sad, smart. He knows where happiness comes from. She, you know what I'm saying? She like knows how to be happy. She just isn't.
Where did the confusion, the direction, like the director's like, all right, I need you to be vulnerable. I need you to be sad. I need you to be a little confused. I need you to know where happiness originates in the human arc.
Yeah. But she knows. She knows how to be happy.
She figured it out. She said, say no more.
Yeah, she's like, despite everything that's thrown at me, I got this dog. I got a nice apartment. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's.
I'm making my way.
Yeah,
I'm making my way.
She's streetwise and shit like that. Like her villain arc, her brief villain arc, when they kidnap the son of the boss, and she's got to be put on hot hooker mode, and she's fucking both as an actress and the actress. In the character is playing a role, and again, it's flawless. That cannot be easy, I would think. Mm-hmm. But she's playing like 6 different roles all at the same time. I mean, bravo.
Touche. I will also say this has one of my with old boy playing Val, Greg Henry, right? Just a tremendous, guy who's produced quality work in a variety of things over the years. But in this one,
perfect scumbag.
He plays a perfect scumbag, non-derogatory compliment here, sir. But I would say there's that scene. Yeah, derogatory, not derogatory. Like there's a scene at the restaurant, right, where they got the kids and the family, whatever, and he is just wild. Yeah. Yo, he is wilding the fuck out. And it's just the perfect kind of chewing of scenery and villainy that feels very over the top, but also like the more that you learn about these types of goons and villains in real life, you're like, no, this is absolutely how these people live, right? Like there's that like quote here where he's like, I got the feeling he'd like to kill you. That's all. Like it's very fun. And it's also, you're like thinking about the kids and families eating here while a guy like Val is out here just about to let that shit go if he needs to.
Yes. And I love like Stegman's whole presentation there is like, no, this guy is scary as fuck and he's going to kill you. Yeah. And Val's reaction is like, what am I? You don't think I'm scary?
What am I, a bitch?
Yeah, he like immediately has to fuck everybody's day up. Which brings me to, if you wouldn't mind indulging the audience, you had a bit in your act years ago that I think very much speaks to this about an experience at an In-N-Out.
Yeah. Okay, I was wondering which one you're gonna talk about here. And this is
just to set it up. I'm not spoiling any of your story. Just talking about Payback. The reason I'm equating the two is I'm thinking about the family that's literally just sitting there having a nice meal, and this fucking lunatic psychopath is like ready to kill everybody in the restaurant.
It just disturbs the whole vibe at the restaurant, and you're just like, "Can I get the double?" I was out here in LA. There's the In-N-Out. That's off of like Sunset and what is that now?
Yeah, Sunset Island.
Yeah. And I was a long time ago, right? And I was walking, and I saw this dude. He clearly was homeless, and he had no pants on. And he's a white dude with dreadlocks as well, so that's also real relevant here, because I was like, I don't know if you remember that part.
No, for some reason, because you gave him a black scent.
Well, well, that's because he was walking down the street being like, somebody gonna respect me.
Yeah,
you gonna respect me. And then that's why I stopped because I was like, oh, something bad is about to happen. And then he marched right into that In-N-Out and was there for a couple of minutes, then came out and was still like, respect me. And I was always like, there's a father-daughter that was just trying to enjoy a lunch.
Didn't he?
And this dude walked in there and looked that father dead in his eyes like, you gonna respect me, bitch? And then, slapped the shit out that man. And then he gonna be like, all right, how am I supposed to have my daughter look at me in the eyes anymore like this right now, man? Come on, man.
That's what I was thinking is like, what I was like, didn't he slap somebody's burger out of their mouth or something?
That was merely my addition in the comedic craft
I see.
of what I imagined happened once he entered it, because I obviously did not follow him into the restaurant, but I waited outside long enough that whatever happened concluded. He came out, reiterated that he was a man deserving of respect, and then marched out into the great beyond, never to be seen by me again. But I clearly feel like you don't go in there with that kind of energy and not smack the shit out of somebody and their burger, or both, most likely. Right. And maybe hope is a parent in front of a child getting themselves humbled and humiliated and embarrassed. Here's the other thing now as we're getting into this, that I was like, I had kind of forgotten about, and then it popped up, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely another reason why Mitch fucked with this movie. And this brings us to Lucy Liu coming in as the dominatrix, and Val being a full-fledged sadist, right? Where like there's that scene.
They're both sadomasochists, which is a rare thing to see in movies at all.
That's what I'm saying.
So
I gotta imagine for you in 1999 to see this kind of representation on the screen was true.
my people.
You shed a single tear. You shed a single tear in Seattle where you were. But I'm very curious about your thoughts on that element of the film, and also specifically, when before I toss it over to you, right? When he's getting pistol whipped by Porter, he probably hard as hell, right? Like she's stepping on him in the heels. He getting pistol whipped right in the face. This man is paying top dollar for upper echelon kink, right? Rosie's rate, Lucy Liu's rate, gotta be through the roof, son.
She was sleeping when it came in.
You know what I'm saying?
Sleepover money is fucking. That's up
crazy.
There. Yeah,
like her menu is gotta be just like, when you be seeing the shit for like the F1 races, and you're like $7,500 for a bucket of chicken fingers. Like that's what I feel. $12,000 for a 12-pack of fucking Cutwaters? Are you kidding me? I'll take two.
Yeah, it's unclear. I'm guessing. I'm briefly thinking about the finances because I can't figure it out at all. Val's finances, because he needed 130 to pay back the outfit out of a 140 job. That leaves him 10, which today is about 22. I looked it up. So
are we doing the inflation? We doing a kink inflation calculator? Where that at?
In 1999, 10 grand felt like what 20 something grand would feel like today. I'm guessing living in the hotel is rent free because he's part of the outfit.
Yeah, you gotta imagine he's not paying no rent. What's the perks of being a goon if I also have to pay you rent in my subsidized housing? Come on, son. That's not how goondom works. We've talked about this. You want to build an organized crime? I'm taking care of you, dog. And in exchange, please and go murder this person who may or may not have anything to do with this.
We also know that he's paying Stegman $1,000 a week to deliver the heroin.
I like how this is turning
It's been 3 months. I think we got a 3-month timeline. So that is 12 grand right there, right?
Is Val just in the most significant credit card debt imaginable paying?
I'm saying, where is
the money coming from?
Where is he getting Lucy Liu dominatrix sleepover money?
And I'm sure he's not doing the bottom barrel session. Like, he's paying sleepover money. He's getting the full shebang, son. Please step on me. Please do the wax on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the stuff, bro. Needle play. I don't know. We don't know what Val's into. He into some wild shit. This is a wild boy.
Yeah. He's also getting other girls. That's talked about. He hires on other girls.
Yeah.
You got other girl money and Lucy Liu sleepover money.
Right.
Where is this money coming from?
And I will say, one of the funniest lines I think in the movie. Also, I will say a bit funnier than I remember it being.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Very well written.
Is
surprising.
It's very well written. It's very tight. Very, very, very well done. Is in that scene right where he's confronting Val. Porter is. And, Lucy Liu is there and she's doing her thing and Val's bitching and then he goes, let her work. Yeah. Hilarious. Just a hilarious little aside of the dynamics for these characters that just works incredibly well here. I will say this, right? Porter as a guy is fascinating to sort of map out in terms of what would a Porter look like today, because, and I don't want to lose the sadomasochist thread here, but he also is very ACAB in many respects here. That dude talks about cops like they are dirt, son.
Yes.
There's that line where he's like, if I was dumber, I could have joined the force myself. And I was like, damn, Porter, you... Just a very interesting guy to try to map out, right? Because I think when you think about, ideology, political spectrum, people want to fit things in a very neat left-right spectrum, and many, many people are not that. And I would tell you Porter is probably absolutely one of those guys. Like, you would look at Porter's voting record, first of all, doesn't exist because he's dead or in jail. But the non-crime...
Porter's not taking time out of his day to vote for anybody.
He's a felon. First of all, he can't vote. He could. He got a record as long as a fucking mile wide. But
he's
the
also,
Porters that are not doing crime.
To be a cab with a USMC tattoo on the arm is an odd.
It is. There's a lot of choices here, right?
He's clearly a nihilist now, a criminal nihilist.
He's completely abandoned any kind of sense
he's not
of
voting for any. In 1999, he couldn't tell you who the president was, guaranteed.
Yeah,
he has no idea.
Man, the only presidents that help my neighborhood are dead and green. That's what Porter would say. Shout out Vince Staples. But I am curious though of your thoughts extended on the entire through line of the S&M sadomasochism, right? And just that, how it was depicted. Because I don't think there's probably a lot of depictions like that in a mainstream Hollywood movie, let alone in general, in 1999.
Yeah, there still kind of isn't. And it wasn't like,
well, now you can access it a little bit more easily.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about mainstream representations, right?
Basically just,
because this is how I would say this.
Pre-internet, but basically pre-internet. The average person was just getting online in 1999.
Welcome.
The average person. Yeah.
You've got mail.
Exactly.
Yeah. They was just getting them 500 hours.
In 1999, I think you were just learning AOL isn't the internet. I can get internet without AOL. Like that 1999.
The fuck is a browser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Netscape Whatagator. So on the one hand, it is fascinating because you don't see sadomasochism. You see either sadism and masochism. You don't see a dynamic where two people are beating the shit out of each other and loving both parts of it. That's not something you see ever. Today, you don't see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
That's a very rare thing to see. So I don't know. It was an interesting dynamic, but of course, it's toxic as fuck and it's not representative, and it doesn't matter. Fine. Everybody in this movie sucks, except for the hooker with the heart of gold. She doesn't suck.
Yeah.
You can't point to anything she did wrong at any point. You could
she's in the wrong place, wrong time.
You could argue maybe she shouldn't have helped kidnap the kid, but he's fine. Nobody hurt him.
I love how the thing that's an edge case is like, maybe she should not have helped traffic a minor, but
he was his 21st birthday.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. That boy is definitely what we used to call the man child, adult baby.
Oh, absolutely.
My big adult son kind of thing. Yeah. But truly,
as Porter said, you indulged him too much. You gave him a Ferrari.
Yeah. Look, you can't fault her for that at all, son. She's just out here trying to self-preservation, and truly, your dad is a upper level goon, Chris Christopherson. I understand your lack of skepticism about, wow, this woman shows up who's incredibly attractive with a limo. That's just my life, right? Like, that's just how I live. That's crazy for me to think about. Like, nah, that's for me, son. That's the honeypot trap. Like, dog, I think I wrote it down as soon as that shit happened. Where I said, I said, oh boy, walking straight into the honeypot trap, son. Johnny, you done. You're done, Johnny.
How do you get to 21 years of age when your dad is the head of a criminal organization? And there's no way you don't know that.
No sense of danger. Spidey sense.
You're telling me, in all those years, no one even so much as side-eyed you? You're the most valuable item in that city. Are you fucking kidding me? Everybody wants to kidnap that dude.
Truly. You tell me this is the first honeypot that they threw at you, Johnny? Johnny, the read
your dad
on you.
did a poor job of raising you. If you step out of a fucking boxing match to a complete stranger with a limo,
right,
who's like, come with me. And also, don't wait up for him. He'll be back in the morning.
Oh, yeah. And also, I don't want none of your friends. I just want you. It's too messy if I have all of y'all in the whip.
Yeah.
That's crazy, Johnny. Like, straight up, son, you deserve your fate. Nah, son, she got a heart of gold. Don't you dare say nothing about her. She is saint, son. She's an absolute saint. Who was that? What's her name? Lynn? Is that what it is in the movie? Is this what we talking about? I'm trying to look through the notes here. Oh no, is this is that Rosie Maria Bello? Is that who we talking about here?
About right.
Her character. That's her character. Yeah. That's her.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we're thinking about here. Yes.
I did also.
Because she
another thing that they did.
I feel like I haven't seen her. Crazy that she also pops up in Coyote Ugly the next year as well too. That's why.
Another thing that's just briefly interesting that I just noted in my head. I don't know if I thought this at the time when I watched it in 1999 when I was Johnny's age, but today looking at it, I'm like, well, it's kind of progressive of them. I mean, this is an older woman. I mean, by all mid to late 30s, right? Isn't that what she's presenting as like
something like
36, 37 maybe? And he's 21. Like, but he's all about it. Not for a minute. He's like, well, she's a little old for me. Like, not a second of that. I don't think he would. She looks fantastic, but I'm just saying,
right.
In 1999, not a crack about her age. Not a reference.
No, and this is the kind of woman now you be talking about being like, she's washed, she's cooked. You're like, this woman is just entering the prime of her life. guys, you should be so lucky to find somebody
That
like
woman
this.
would snap
Desperate
it
for
off
normalcy.
of you hands free. Hands free would snap that thing off of you and ride it to glory on her own. You can go to bed. She'll make your floor wet with it. She don't care.
Goodness gracious.
Flawless. I don't know who did the casting, how much of it was Mel Gibson going like, no, you want this one. But literally every gangster is exactly perfect. The two guys just below Carter was real good, where he's like, what's that old saying? You don't shit where you eat or live.
Yeah.
I like live.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. I like live. I like mine better. You're like, okay.
You're like, that doesn't.
Yeah, all right, bro. That doesn't work. That's not
what
work.
life do you live that you don't shit where you live? Everybody shits where they live. That's what every home has a bathroom. But like, you're valuable, Johnny. You're a sadist. You lack compunction. That's useful.
Yeah. I mean, the dialogue here is so great and fitting of all of the characters, and it's a great testament to how you can world build in the limited time frame of a movie, right? Compared to TV, where people are saying things and it feels so fitting for that. Coming out of it. And also the fact that Chris Christopherson was apparently a late addition after Mel Gibson got Brian out of there.
After they fired Brian, they were like, we got to bring in Chris Christopherson. Of course you do. Of course you do.
Chris Christopherson coming in for like a week's worth being like, yeah, absolutely. Give me, yeah, sure. You want me to be it? Great. Banging it out. Like, imagine that guy just coming into a movie that's basically already done and being like, you need me to do this? No fucking idea that Chris Christopherson was not a part of this movie from the very beginning, the way that he's out here being like, I will say too, that ending scene as well.
You tell me where he is, you tell me where he is, and I'll kill you right now and make it quick and easy. You hold out on me all like this last 3 weeks. I'll give you a blood transfusion to keep you alive.
Truly, and I believe. Here's the thing:
100%.
Chris Christopherson delivers that line with such lived-in conviction that I'm like, yo, this dude has absolutely done this several times now, right? Like,
he's like, I read the dialogue, but I have something I'd like to add about a blood transfusion.
Right. Like I don't know if it's Chris Christopherson, I don't know if it's the character that has done this, but like somebody involved in this scene has absolutely been a part of some real nefarious shit where they're like, you're not dead yet, my man. We transfusing you. We're going to keep your ass alive for another few weeks. Like, Chris Christopherson's moving in a way where he just reads that in some sort of fucking, article or whatever. He's like, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to say that.
Taking that with me.
I'm going to make a note of that. I'm making a note of that one.
And a quick shout out to, I think his name's James Coburn. Yes, I'm fine.
Yes.
He's shooting at my alligator suitcases and shooting holes in my suits.
In my suit. Man, that's just mean. That's mean, man.
Yeah, that shit is incredible. That's mean, man. Like, those are the kinds of villains that I fucking love, who are actual real people. Like, yes, I do crime, but I'm also a man and a person, and I care about things, and I spent a lot of money on those things, and they mean something to me. Please don't shoot my gator.
Yeah.
Please don't shoot it.
He's so put off by it. He fires the guys holding the suitcases.
Yeah, like, he's disgusting.
70 grand. My shoes are worth more than that.
Here is the thing that I feel about
Big Dog. Why not give the man your shoes? Make this whole thing go. Like, by the way, that guy who's got alligator suitcases that are made out of real alligator that cost more than those two guys' combined yearly salary. That dude's got 70 grand in his pocket right now. He could peel off 70 grand and make this whole thing go away.
He could make this whole thing vanish.
I think we got to go back to Carter's thing. He's like, it's just not good for business. What corporation in the world would just hand you 70 grand? And I'm like, the one that's going to get everybody killed, I think.
Everything, like, yo, Porter, you can't put your fate in Chris Christopherson's hands. He absolutely going to kill you, son.
Yeah. Gonna kill you.
Now, granted, you had the explosion, which looks incredible. Again, another explosion that looks phenomenal. On screen, money, the location, big budget, blow up shit, and much better than anything you see today.
Every single fucking interior is my favorite interior in the world. It's the lighting, the wallpaper, the wood.
Yep.
Every fucking inch of everybody's interior, except for Porter's apartment, frankly. every other interior.
The shithole.
Yeah,
the shithole. Yeah.
But like every restaurant they go to, every bar, fucking everything, flawless. Love the
and
again,
so much
the
of it's
look.
shot in LA. It's shot in LA. A lot of it is, I believe, right? So like again, like shooting, having it in actual locations. Yes, it looks like a great movie where you can see so much of a $50 million budget on the actual screen, right? Like even the shootouts with the cars and all of that stuff feel very big and real. Okay, the other explosion thing is I feel like I do not see this anymore, similar to Triads disappearing, right, as a villain. Real 90s trope. You don't really see anybody blow up something with a cigarette anymore.
Yeah.
The way that you used to, right?
This
like
is, by the way,
thing. Is this?
Let me say this: if you were a recent smoker who still has the occasional craving, this is not the movie to watch. This is an impossible movie to watch. If you have any cravings for a cigarette whatsoever, this movie is not your friend. Everybody smokes all of the time. Mel Gibson blows up a car with a cigarette and watches it blow up while lighting another cigarette. It's just a cigarette movie.
It's a cigarette movie.
And in 1999, accurately, in 1999, you could smoke everywhere.
You could.
I mean, he smokes everywhere he goes.
This to me feels like this is pre Mythbusters shattering that. Like, yeah, you could still do that before everyone's like, I don't know about that anymore.
Mythbusters!
The scene, I can't remember which scene it is, but there's the scene. I think it might be after the restaurant with Val's wilding out or whatever. Oh, it's when Porter goes to meet up with Rosie, your girl, Maria Bello.
Yeah.
And that Melrose Place music kicks in with the saxophone. And you're just like, oh yeah. We used to do this. We used to have a guy on the rooftop at night with the moon behind him, just Kitty G in it. But like, when you hear that sound in a movie or TV show, exactly what's about to happen, right? More than likely.
Gonna be some pumping.
For a brief second, I couldn't tell if that's what you were doing, and I was like, "Oh, is he just like stretching his knuckles out?" And I was like,
"Well, I was gonna do figure into the hole in the hand, but I was like, that's not fun. Doing two fist pumping is pretty."
Yeah. It was just, I was just like, "Is he doing it? He's doing it."
Yeah, up until about 2005, if you heard a saxophone, somebody was fucking.
And specifically that big belt out note that just sort of emerged, right? It wasn't like a nice little mellow, like, quiet storm saxophone. It was, as I'm saying, like you would cut to a guy like in the middle of the street. Yeah, he's in the middle of the street. It's always at night. It's always moonlit, and he's just fucking. He's just out there being like, the sex is happening. You're like, yeah, they doing it.
So, one thing I didn't ask you is, do you remember the first time you watched this at all? How did it get up? Did it ever go up on your radar? Or was it one of those, I've seen pieces of it kind of things like last time?
No, I think this one falls in the camp of it was always playing on TNT and TBS. And I did, in fact, watch the whole thing. Now, I think for a long time, I had not seen the like non-TV edit version. So then there was like, at some point I watched the actual Payback, and then I was like, a couple things to be cleaned up here.
Yeah, that whole scene with Val and Lucy Liu, I guess that probably wasn't in the TNT version.
Yeah, so it was definitely a little bit reduced. But I would say I knew Payback. I was pretty familiar with it, and there was some stuff that I didn't fully appreciate or remember, but unlike 1408, I had actually seen Payback a few times, and thought it was one of the better for that time period as well from him.
Okay. What would you, the 56 on Rotten Tomatoes, 46 on Metacritic, unfair or fair for the time? History, how does history look at those scores?
I think they're a little unfair. I think you're closer. The 46 is unfair. I think for sure. I gave this one a solid 3 on Letterboxd. I think it was very, very well done. It's good. Makes sense why, people went out and saw it for a Mel Gibson movie, right? I think it still holds up in a lot of ways. Like, it is, when you say hold up sometimes, like, does it give you the feelings of the time and the moment in a very distinctive way? Yes, it does. You got the credit card swipe and the Melrose Place music, and you've also got Lucy Liu, which we will be getting into more at the beginning of her cultural run, right? And I think in terms of like the neo-noir style, it's one of the better offerings of that period when you start to get into really reductive stuff. But say it's capped off or started off by Pulp Fiction, you're kind of at your halfway point for cultural relevancy. I think it's still really good. And I think it also surprises you in some ways with how it presents Mel Gibson and the tagline for the movie, right? And that's why I think it's fascinating that he comes out the next year with What Women Want, because you sort of see that dynamic being played out here. So I think 56 is closer to fair than the 46 from my end. But what do you think?
I mean, I honestly think it's a great film, at least 4 stars out of 5 for me. I don't know that it's a perfect 5-star film, although I can't give you anything that I didn't like about it. And Mel Gibson plays the perfect level. I mean, flawlessly pulls off the comedy without a wink, without any like knowing he's funny.
Self-aware without
he doesn't go too long.
Putting in front of your face.
You know when people are like not funny and you give them something funny and they do it 7 times in a row? And you're like, unfortunately, there you just ran that right into the fucking ground. They don't do too much with that. They don't try to push it too far. They're not like, it's a zany, wacky comedy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's funny, but it's not comedic. It's much more of, a thriller action film with a lot of comedic beats, and it all works very, very well, right? The humor reinforces the sort of darkness of the film and provides levity as well. I think you get that right. The very distinct sense of humor in this movie is captured in that opening scene we talked about with the, homeless vet, getting him to reveal the con, right? And sort of the whole way of the movie is cons revealing cons and then being like, shut up, I cured you. Like, it is very funny in a blunt fashion. And that is kind of the balance the movie pulls off very, very well.
So next up, we got Lucky Number Slevin, 2006, which is right off the bat interesting to me because you and I are about 6.5 years apart in age. I picked a movie from 1999. You pick a movie from 6.5 years later in 2006.
Which also, coincidentally, is very much so sort of a opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the timing of mainstream neo-noir movies, right? And I think hopefully 2 better entries of that trend. And of course, anchored by the phenomenally talented and amazing Lucy Liu.
Yes.
So we clearly both have a Lucy Liu affinity somewhere in there.
What's also interesting is that the writer of this, kind of like how Payback, the guy had only directed one thing and it was a single episode of TV. This is a writer who all he'd done prior to this was write 4 episodes of a show called Karen Cisco. That's all he had done before writing this entire film. Wild.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, I mean, it's a interesting movie in that sense where you're like, I feel like everyone's kicking around their neo-noir idea, right? Like everyone had a version of that script basically in the industry, and then a few of them actually were able to materialize, and even fewer of them were actually good post Pulp Fiction, right? Because I think for my approach to viewing this and looking at it, that's sort of a big part of this for me was, okay, when I realized what we were doing with this episode and being like, all right, so we're looking at the neo-noir thing and what does that timeline look like, right? And how does each of these sort of fall into it? For me, I feel like it gets kicked off by Pulp Fiction. Maybe it's wrong, but that's 94, right? Where you have these very stylized crime films. And then you also have the other piece of it, I think, that is distinctive to this wave, the kind of non-linear structure, right? Like we see some of that in Payback. We see some of that in Lucky Number Slevin. You got the pop culture saturated dialogue. That's a little bit more Lucky Number Slevin than I would say Payback, right? But you got these morally ambiguous people that you're rooting for, or maybe not necessarily rooting against. And then you would also have in the same time period, right? If you're looking at 94 as the starting period with Pulp Fiction, you've got stuff like Usual Suspects. We've got Seven.
So
you've got Memento.
Here's kind of what
Snatch.
one you're leaving out that I desperately need to bring up here, because I'm suddenly thinking it's interesting how many people, writers / director folks, their first big project where they first get a chance to take a crack is a kind of a caper, in the sense that there's a mystery, there's a lot of crime, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm thinking one you left out, Boondock Saints, comes to mind as well. Like there's a first-time guy who's like, I've got this noir caper gangsta film. Quentin Tarantino did it with Pulp Fiction. Then you got your Boondock Saints, you got Payback, you got Slevin. Like is that the thing that when you're just like a TV writer and you're like, one day when my number comes up, I'm going to make my big,
well, I think it was
big
in the 90s.
Complicated movie. You know what I mean? My big complicated, you don't know what's going on to the last 10 minutes fucking crime movie.
If you're a writer in this mid to late 90s period, and then early aughts, 2000s, the answer is yes, right? If you're talking about 94 to 2006, which is when Lucky Number Slevin comes out, you're talking about a bunch of people who are basically operating with exactly that kind of framework of, I maybe did a couple TV episodes, but I want to shoot my shot, and it's going to kind of look like this, right?
Yeah. And it's once again, as we discussed last episode, it is right in that fucking Goldilocks zone of DVDs going up while tickets are movies are going down, DVDs are going up,
right?
But DVDs are going so far up that so many movies that would never get a chance in hell today, and barely had a chance in hell then, somehow are enduring cultural classics because of the DVD.
Yep. And so I think another thing, right, to your point, another movie that I think did very well because of DVDs, and that I would say serves as a marker of the end of this cycle, right, in sort of conjunction with Lucky Number Slevin, and I think represent two of the better final offerings, is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from Shane Black.
Okay. Didn't see that one.
Which has Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, but that's the very hyper-aware neo-noir movie, very much so owes itself to a lot of things on the Pulp Fiction side. Shane Black, obviously the same guy who wrote Lethal Weapon, right? So this sort of his, jumping back into this action arena here. But you've got that in 2005, this in 2006, and then I think it kind of is diminishing returns, and we're wrapped up here, right? Like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang represents the bookend of like, yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to do this again and top this. And then you really get, I mean, maybe there's not to say there's,
I only got one other that's probably not in this wheelhouse, but I was suddenly thinking you got a brand new James Bond-esque franchise for the first time in God knows how long. Franchise.
James Bond is a totally separate.
I'm talking about the Bourne Identity movies.
But I don't think those are neo-noir though.
No, I'm just saying. Gritty. I'm just saying, as far as like a something that exploded on DVD that wasn't really big in theaters.
Oh yes,
until it did become. Yes. And it was and it was new IP. You know what I mean? It was a new franchise. I mean, when do you get a new franchise really ever?
I was going to tell you, that brings me back to my concluding point. Thank you so much for a beautiful segue, because I do not think that you see this genre kind of reinvent itself and become culturally relevant again until the introduction of a new franchise with a gentleman by the name of Keanu Reeves starring as John Wick.
John Wick. Yes, absolutely. John Wick.
Look at how I did that. You see how I did that? That's how we do in Retrospectacle. He can take me all the way left. I'm bringing us back right. Never off course.
John Wick is Payback with most of the comedies stripped off.
Truly, I think the thing that's most relevant to start with for me is we just talked about how crazy the cast is for Lucky Number Slevin, right? Josh Hartnett, obviously. You've got Lucy Liu, Bruce Willis, Stanley Tucci, Ben Kingsley, Morgan Freeman. But Lucy Liu is in both of these, and I think you see how much her cultural star exploded between Payback and Lucky Number Slevin, because not sure if you are aware or remember this, but she first kind of gets her big break in Ally McBeal.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Ally McBeal. You're two steps ahead. Ally McBeal is where she first comes in, and she has a part that was supposed to be kind of just like a bit very ephemeral. But guess what, Mitch? The streets fucked with Lucy Liu. And they are like, well, guess you're on the show now. And she got an Emmy nomination for that. And then that leads to Payback. And then you get to 2000. And then she is doing Charlie's Angels, right? Like, what a very fascinating sort of evolution for her. She also does Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson in 2000. So she's got that. And then you got the Ally McBeal conclusion. And then she goes into Chicago, right? And then she's doing Kill Bill and the Charlie's Angels sequel in 2003. And she's getting MTV Movie Awards, right? Then you have Kill Bill 2 come out in 2004. And then she's got a couple of indie things in 2005. And now you're kind of at a little bit of tail end of cultural primacy to something that we talk about, right? Like, I think Lucy Liu is still very culturally relevant. She's still popular, especially when you think about the nostalgia stuff or whatever. But Lucy Liu at kind of her apex, Lucky Number Slevin is probably the bookend for that, I would say, right? And even with the disappointing box office for that movie, like every time I mention that, people didn't see Lucky Number Slevin compared to Payback. You're talking about half of the box office, right? With very similar budgets. Lucky Number Slevin, $27 million budget, $56 million at the box office, $50 million budget for Payback, $161 million for.
Okay, but the 56 you're talking about is international. Domestic, I think it was like 33 or something, right?
Yeah, right. We're talking full global box office for all of these. Yes, correct. Yeah. So, it becomes definitely for her a little bit of trying to find her footing again with sort of that level. But like, this is where Lucy Liu is Lucy Liu and really kind of established herself, I would say, in many respects.
What was something that jumped out to me immediately is how many very famous, I mean, A-list stars are not in their comfort zone in this movie. Morgan Freeman as a villain. Lucy Liu is kind of ditzy, charming, ditzy, kind of easygoing. She was always a badass. She was always a badass. And then she's in here and she's like, tee, I'm your what's the word I'm looking for?
Your neighbor.
Manic pixie dream girl neighbor.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? She's kind of quirky.
But she's a little bit of a badass in this. We'll talk about that when we get to that. She's got it. But to your point, if you look at Lucy Liu in 1999, that's the Lucy Liu that everyone thinks of the badass, dominatrix, with the whip, getting paid big dollars to
rolling with the triad, ready. She's in the middle of a group full of 5 guys.
Right.
All right. And she's got the smallest gun, but she don't care.
Right. Like that's the Lucy Liu that shows up a couple of years later in Kill Bill, right? Like, there's a very it's a very linear evolution to Lucy Liu doing, O-Ren Ishii with the shit that you see in Payback,
and then
right?
Going back, then we got Ben Kingsley, fucking Gandhi himself, as a Jewish gangster who Never
with his
quite.
own ambiguous moral code where
His own ambiguous, by the way, his own ambiguous accent that changes every time he opens his mouth.
I love it though. I don't need you to sound like you can sound like you from every neighborhood in
He's
the
like,
borough here.
today I'm
But
Italian, now I'm a little bit Jewish, now I sound like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Here's some British
Yeah.
for you. You're like,
I am just
where are you
like,
from?
where are you from?
Everywhere?
You just go, I'm from the old world. That's it. I'm from the old world. Capital O, capital W.
He pulls out that sawed-off shotgun, and you don't care where he's from anymore. I'm going to have to defer to your encyclopedic knowledge of the man. How many times is Morgan Freeman even a bastard in a movie? Much less full-on villain.
Morgan Freeman is like full-on villain like this. You're definitely not getting a lot of this Morgan Freeman.
This is
at this era.
rarefied
I think especially because this is very rarefied for Morgan to be this. And I will say one of my favorite scenes here, I guess, would be I don't want to jump ahead, but it is the ending.
Yes.
And it's when he gives the speech.
Yes.
And you had never seen Lucky Number Slevin, right? Because I definitely know that I am in the minority
right
of people that saw this movie.
Yeah, it is on the back foot because of the title. I cannot be.
You don't
alone
like the
on that.
title?
I do not like the title.
You don't like the title?
Do
You
not
don't like
care,
Lucky Number
do
Slevin?
not care for the title.
Come on, man.
Also, by the by, I meet a guy who looks like Josh Hartnett. Just a white bread, just the most cracker of crackers. Just white dude, not an accent in sight. And I say, "Hey, my name's Mitch." He says, "My name's Slevin." I say, "No, it's not." No, the fuck it isn't. No, it's not. It's not Slevin. It's not. You mean it's Kevin and you want to sound cool? It's Kevin, isn't it? Now, if you look at me and you go,
man his name. You can't deny that man his name.
I say my name is Mitch, and you go, "Oh, my name is Slevin." Yes, your name is Slevin. That voice, your name's Slevin.
To answer your question, yes. This is also what I love about this is because we are getting a very different Morgan Freeman than we have gotten for, almost 20 years at this point, right? We've gotten to Morgan Freeman from Glory and Driving Miss Daisy. You saw even, even when he was doing the shit in Robin Hood, right? He got Shawshank. Okay. We see him in Seven. He's a detective.
Yeah.
All right. He's out in Amistad. He's doing Kiss the Girls. And then he's doing the President shit and Deep Impact or whatever, right? And then he was doing Bruce Almighty where he's playing God. And then he was doing $1 Million Baby where he's the fucking, hey, Hillary Swank, let's get out here and live this life. And then most notably, I would say before Lucky Number Slevin, for a lot of people, he has now become Lucius Fox in Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you're getting the conscience of Gotham, right? Mr. Type your name in when you're done. And he's out here being like, I'm murdering your motherfucking son. I'm gonna kill him. And I'm gonna relish it, you raggedy bitch. You're like, wow, Morgan, you're having a great time on set here. You know what I'm saying?
Two more castings that throw you. Stanley Tucci as a tough guy cop.
Great.
That was hard.
Love it.
That was hard to watch. I mean, it was good. He did really well, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm going, it's so hard. The guy who's always cooking pasta and talking about the smells of Italy.
That is a great point. Because I have in my notes specifically after a Stanley Tucci scene here, right? There is the range of acting on display here from people who don't necessarily get the chance to do it is, I think, one of the draws of this movie to me, and specifically Tucci being this very grimy cop, right? Like that is not what you typically get out of him, but he has such fucking incredible range. I think the thing that I also made a very specific point about for this is Lucky Number Slevin comes out the same year as one of Stanley Tucci's best roles and most famous roles. Do you know which one I'm about to say here?
I don't think I do.
Oh, come on, son. A sequel is on the way. You know where we're going? Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
This is the same year that both of these movies drop. So this is where to your point, Stanley Tucci in his natural element at Vogue with Meryl Streep doing hand away.
A sassy gay? All day, Stanley Tucci. All day. Who else do you put in that role? That's Stanley Tucci's fucking bread and butter and side of pasta and probably a Caesar salad. That's his bread and butter. Tough guy cop, less so.
Everyone has Stanley Tucci as sassy gay or dad or whatever it is, right? Like that kind of stuff. But he has such phenomenal range that he can step into these hard ass, real grimy dudes who have, I would say, the duality of their morality. If you want to show some Jesse Jackson, shout out, you know what I'm saying over there, right? That's what I think is so great about the casting here is people lean on what they are known for and the sort of familiarity that audiences are perceiving them with. And as one of my favorite things about this movie, the phrase that I have used, and now my wife finally understands where it comes from and why I like it so much, Kansas City Shuffle, right? The whole movie is Kansas City Shuffles on Kansas City Shuffles on Kansas City Shuffles.
I have in my note. I have in my notes, my last note on this movie. I'm skipping just to that. There's still got plenty in between, but the last note I have is how often does Teddy jam out to the final Kansas City Shuffle remix rap that they play at the end there? Like, how often do you like "There's my jam, there's my jam"?
Honestly, I've forgotten about the song until I watched it again, but the Spotify usage may be going up. It's probably cracking my rap this year. Shout out Kansas City Shuffle to Spotify Rap 2026. Josh Hartnett, we out here, baby.
Spotify's like, he went.
I know you're not in the song, but you know what I'm saying? You listen to it.
He went from Round the Clock, latest Tron soundtrack,
Tron Aries,
to fucking Kansas City Shuffle on repeat.
They're like, wow, what a 12 months. You went from playing Tron Aries every day for 8 hours to Kansas City Shuffle 3 hours a day.
The other surprise cameo, stepping out of what he's most famous for doing, is Bubba from Gump as one of the thugs.
Yes.
And I was and I remember I was immediately like, now that's a face I've not seen in a long time. Right. I'm sure he's been a character actor in a million things that I haven't seen, but I was like, is that Bubba? And I had to like quickly IMDb, and I was like, son of a bitch, it is. Got that very distinctive mouth.
Very distinctive. The roles that I think I most have enjoyed him for well after. He's done a lot, right?
I'm sure.
Dude's been all kinds of stuff. I think he also, you may remember the Ali, with Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, right? Mm-hmm. He plays Don King in that. He's also one of the guys in Con Air around the same time, shortly after Forrest Gump. But I have very much so come to enjoy him
on the movies you've just listed.
Con Air?
I know.
Con Air?
Look, I told you, cheesy action movies are generally not my wheelhouse.
Cheesy is not what Con Air is, sir. Con Air is far from cheesy. We talking about a fastball performance right down the middle, can't swing if your life depended on it, from Nicolas Cage. We talking about Steve Buscemi in that joint, okay? We talking about a young Dave Chappelle popping up with a cameo in that joint. You, sir, gotta see one of the greatest 90s action films that exist. 1997. I'm telling you right now, Retrospectos audience, Retrospec heads, we gotta figure out something to call y'all.
The Speckies.
Y'all go watch me bully and badger this man into getting his filmography up. There's some glaring things that Mitch has never seen. This man had never seen Shawshank until this calendar year.
I had to literally 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. When it comes to the Kansas City Shuffle, I love it as a phrase. It's so clean, it's so smooth, it's so rhythmical. But in
much
this movie,
there's
so and a much better than a Lucky Number Slevin. Apparently, I guess it sticks. They should have named the movie Kansas City Shuffle.
They should have named the movie Kansas City Shuffle. 100%. They should have named the movie Kansas City Shuffle. 100%. Kansas
City Shuffle is right up there with one of those cultural phrases that I use still to this day that I don't think most other people remember. The other one that is in my heavy rotation and has been since the early 2000s around the same time, comes from when The Rock hosted Saturday Night Live and he did a ladies' man sketch. Tim Meadows, and he talks about he's like the undercover officer. Yeah, and he's like an undercover cop, and then it's like a sting operation, and he's talking about all this stuff that Leon Phelps was doing. He's like, me and the boys at the station are still trying to figure out what an Alabama wisecracker is, and it's so great. If that's it, Kansas City Shuffle, Alabama Wisecracker have been in my playbook for years. Thanks to the fine work of some of our greatest cultural comedians, Tim Meadows, you are Jim. That said, lucky number Slevin on the cast front. I have so many things to talk about here, but I will say to wrap up the cast piece because it would be sort of remiss to not spend some time talking about it, I think, given his current and very unfortunate situation. But Bruce Willis, man, talk about missing somebody, who would be at the sort of, twilight of the career, really hopefully still bringing it. I'm thinking of the way that you got like a Ray Liotta performance in Blackbird. That was one of his final performances, right? But like that dude's screen presence, while being a guy who says nothing, is unmatched. To use today's parlance, right? Aura. The dude's aura is off the fucking charts. He is just, that opening scene, right? Like his narration is very emotionally narrow, but the presence, the intonation, the scene when he's out here being like, she made me, kid. Like he just is a guy who says very little, but everything he says is truly just like incredibly impactful. And I think it's not lost on me that this comes right after his sort of big comeback, in a sense, with Sin City the year before.
One of my favorite little tidbits of trivia that's hard to picture in my head because of my introduction to Bruce Willis, like almost anyone my age, being Die Hard. But his start was this sitcom, Honeymooners.
Moonlight.
Yeah, Moonlight, whatever.
Yes.
Sorry, not Honeymooners. True to Moon. Yeah. Apparently, when the first trailers for Die Hard popped up in theaters and Bruce Willis appeared on screen, audiences fell over laughing. Like,
right, because they were like,
this fucking guy?
Who the fuck do you
like? This fucking
comedy guy?
It would be like seeing Jerry Seinfeld holding a gun, I guess.
Right.
I guess that's
and
it's such a
it is
because
it's so
you think now, like I'm, you and I are probably on the thing of like, I cannot imagine Bruce Willis being like a funny sitcom guy. That's insane.
But I think here's what I would say, right? Like I
of what they felt back then.
It's to me, it is the opposite. Whereas I absolutely can envision Bruce Willis as a funny sitcom guy because we have seen it. Like I think that's the interesting thing of looking through the retro spectacles, right? Of if you were out here at that era when, Die Hard is coming out, right, in like what, like 80s or something?
87?
Die Hard's 88.
Okay.
Die Hard's 88.
I was close.
You're pretty solid. You're pretty solid there.
Was pretty good.
But like, you're like, this is crazy. There's no way that you guys are trying to tell me that this guy is a leading action man, right? And then he goes out, does it, and now that's how you see him. But to the sitcom comedy stuff, then you kind of get to the cycle where you forget. Right. And then you forget until he does the cameo arc on Friends where he's playing a funny guy. Right. Like that's where
you're going to lose me on Friends.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but this is where like you have people who suddenly see him on Friends are like, wow, Bruce Willis on a sitcom being funny. And he's like, well, that's where I started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to me, that's where it kind of can be a very big head fuck for you when you suddenly have been around long enough, done something successfully enough, rebranded and remarketed yourself enough that suddenly people forget where you came from. I'm action, but they forget that you're a really funny guy in a lot of different respects. I think if we're tossing out fun facts here, the other thing...
We're always tossing out fun facts.
about Bruce specifically is right. Like, I think fascinating to have him in this movie here and looking at the sort of stretch that this is sitting within. Like I'm saying, right? I feel like Sin City is sort of his return to reminding people, hey, I'm Bruce Willis and I can really crush this stuff. And then he has another Die Hard in 2007, right? Like we go back to Die Hard after Lucky Number Slevin. It's the first Die Hard in 12 years. So you're kind of cashing in on, even though people didn't necessarily see Lucky Number Slevin, but you're putting some really strong performances on the screen. You go back a few years and Ocean's 11 coming out in 2001, right? Terry Benedict is played by Andy Garcia. He's great. You know who was originally cast to be Terry Benedict in Ocean's 11 and the Big Bad? Bruce Willis. But Bruce Willis dropped out to go record an album.
Yes, I remember. I mean, I remember the album. I didn't know that he dropped out of the thing, but
yeah. So like you spend a kind of 5 years just sort of bumbling around, not really doing anything super meaningful, right? Nothing is really penetrating culturally. You are still very much so Bruce Willis. You are still a famous guy, but a lot of this stuff is sort of flopping, right? There's the military movies that he did, Heart's War, Tears of the Sun, 2002, 2003. Both of those are kind of disappointments. And then it's Sin City that really kind of re-injects him into the zeitgeist in a way where you can survive Lucky Number Slevin not being a hit despite having an all-star cast. And then it's like, all right, well, I kind of have to go back to Die Hard now.
I just wanted to that point of Bruce Willis. Actually, similarly, as we were talking about with Mel Gibson, he does know comedic timing. He knows what's funny. He knows not to overdo it.
Bruce Willis, right, is very similar to Mel in the sense of they both have very good comedic timing.
Yes.
Part of the reason why Lethal Weapon works and why you can stick in a Chris Rock or a Joe Pesci to, various results or whatever is because Danny and Mel have excellent comedic chemistry and timing, right? They're very different, straight man, wild boy. Bruce is the same way when I'm thinking here of the whole 9 yards, right? Jimmy the Tulip. He is really funny as Jimmy the Tulip in the whole 9 yards. And it's because he has that very sturdy comedic background that he can lean on for a variety of different things. But you can toss Mel Gibson into, something like that and have him be comedic without overdoing it, I think is what you were touching on, which is really easy to do for a guy who has become an action guy and is trying to overcorrect and overcompensate for no, I'm really funny and I always was really funny. Well, okay, that may not necessarily be the case, right? Now let's get into back to the movie at hand here.
This is gonna be a tough one for if you're listening at home. And you haven't seen Lucky Number Slevin, there's no way to talk about more than 12 seconds of this movie.
Why are you watching this podcast or listening if you haven't fucking, I'm saying, please don't turn it off. Please don't turn it off.
I'm saying,
if you're fine with it being spoiled,
saying Payback, you can get through about 40 minutes of our chat about Payback without much of a spoiler. Slevin, it's just, as Slevin, there's nothing you can say that isn't going to be like you have to watch the whole movie.
Yes.
So you're fucked if you haven't seen it. It's worth watching.
There you go. Okay, that's fair.
I do not agree. By the way,
push pause right now.
52 on Rotten Tomatoes, 53 on Metacritic. I think
criminal. Criminal.
I agree.
Criminally underrated.
I agree with you. Those are way too low for this movie. I would not rate it as high as Payback, but definitely 52 and 53 is some weak sauce.
My wife Jillian had the same reaction because she had never seen it before, and she was like, "This is much better than people seem to think it is." And I was like, "Thank you, thank you, very gratifying."
That is the quintessential hidden gem.
Here it is.
Okay,
I feel like I love it. There's just so much interplay in this movie, right? The way in which you have everything sort of layered on top of each other. Kansas City Shuffles and Kansas City Shuffles happening here. I do just love the juxtaposition of the boss and the rabbi as characters, right? And how they play them and how, all the way through with them for accepting their fate versus struggling against it. The other thing that I love about this movie is a couple of things that just culturally jump out, right? Number one, the Morgan Freeman "Do we look alike?" line with it hits very different in a pre-Obama era, is what I feel like, right? Like in 2006, saying that is very different than into that once you get into a couple of years later and you start to make those jokes. Because even the black president jokes do not work very well, right? Like that is just something that I think is different culturally when you flash forward like 5 years later and you start to see what plays versus what doesn't.
I think, because it's to me it's a double joke, which is you don't know who the hell I am anyway.
Right.
And then it's
very clever.
And then it's also the joke of white people think we all look alike. And
that's why it works.
Yeah.
And so I think if it was any other movie, it would play very, very differently. But because this is such an double entendre style movie, it is able to get away with things like that. I think it's the same thing, right? Of you're not going to get away with labeling the gay character the fairy.
No.
Unless it's this very over the top style thing.
I have a weird bit of trivia on that one that I thought was fucking wild as shit. The Russian version of IMDb that has the trailer for this movie, they apparently
what you doing over there?
Apparently, it's official government or Russian policy as of like 2005 or something like that the LGBT community is a terrorist organization, the way that people like to call Antifa a terrorist organization when it's not an organization. But in Russia, LGBT is considered a terrorist organization. And so in the trailer for Lucky Number Slevin, they bleep out the word fairy and they completely black out any scenes that show the character.
That's crazy.
They're like so homophobic that like, were you to see a gay,
we got to black box you out.
Yeah,
you can't have anything on that.
I thought it was
that's
very
an
wild.
insane. That's an insane
thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I honestly, the first time I watched it when he said the fairy, I was like, oh, that's an interesting. I'm curious why he got that nickname. Naive bitch ass I am. I was like, it's not. I didn't. No part of my brain was like, I'm guessing this is a gay character. I don't know. For some reason, my brain didn't go there. And he was like, then he starts going through and I was like, oh, it's like that, is it? I think you could do it. I think that in the context
you could do what? Call him the fairy?
Yeah. Well, in the context of the character we're talking about Morgan Freeman's character, who in the lore of the film has been locked in his isolated tower for 20 years. He doesn't get out. He doesn't get out much. And he's obviously an old school guy. That guy today says fairy. So yes, you could get away with it for that character. That's who that guy is. It's the way you don't expect your grandfather to understand what a transgender is. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure. Okay. That's fair. You within the realm of the world that you're building, this guy is probably saying that, and you're still getting something to that degree. Okay. Sure. Now, that said, the other cultural thing that I think was a really hilarious thing, before we maybe get into some more themes, is the comment about the quality of the picture on the phone being shit that Lucy Liu takes. And that is just very funny to me 20 years later, when you could literally stream a whole podcast event, shoot a fucking movie off your iPhone, although we know you're not really shooting off the phone, Danny Boyle. I love that shit, but you got the rig or whatever. But the point is, in 20 years, we went from it being a cultural punchline that phones can't take high quality pictures to phones out here having some Hubble telescope shit on your fucking pocket and at your disposal, which is an amazing, I think, moment to note, right? In the evolution of looking back at this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, 2006 was,
we still had the GPS TomToms.
A camera on your phone was only just barely default.
I was going to say about to bring it back to the Noodle Boys piece, right? Because leading man, Josh Hartnett, teen idol, who, has definitely ratcheted down. He had the very sort of squinty eye thing.
No, his eyes are too wet.
But I think that was part of his appeal.
His eyes are too wet.
What do you mean they're too wet? What does that mean?
His eyes are too wet. I can't stop.
You can't just keep explaining
I'm
the
sorry.
thing as the thing
Every
itself.
time I see the man on film, I'm thinking this man's eyes are too wet.
Okay.
I'm sorry. There's an actress like that. I can't think of her name, but her eyes are too damn wet.
All right. We
Like she's always about to cry. Her eyes are too wet. It's just a thing.
Oh, that's okay.
Some
That's,
people's
okay.
some people's eyes are just too wet.
Because he doesn't look like he's about to cry. It doesn't look like he's about to cry here necessarily.
No, but
it just looks like
he does look like
squinted.
if I said I need you to cry, he can do it. No, like that. Because his eyes are so wet, he's ready to roll. He's got it. He's got it ready.
Okay.
He's got him in the chamber. Eyes are too wet.
Now,
but are you saying he's a noodle boy?
No, I'm saying the opposite. I think Josh Hartnett, coming of age, late 90s, right? Turn of the millennium. Virgin Suicides, I think, is what really maybe put him on the map. He was in The Faculty too, but Virgin Suicides is sort of like the thing,
this is
right?
Post 40 Days, 40 Nights.
What, Lucky Number Slevin or what?
Yeah, this is post 40 Days, 40 Nights.
Yeah,
I saw
everything
that.
is post 40 Days and 40 Nights.
I saw that in theaters, actually.
Well, I would say everything is basically post 40 Days and 40 Nights because Lucky Number Slevin is really kind of the last big thing he does before he starts to ratchet it down and move out of acting and do like at least the Hollywood stuff, right? He was in Penny Dreadful for a couple of years, but he really starts to, it feels like pull back after Lucky Number Slevin and is doing a lot more focused stuff, maybe a movie or two a year if you look at his filmography. But yes, you're talking about, right, Virgin Suicides, Black Hawk Down, phenomenal. Talk about Hidden Gem with Mekhi Phifer and Othello, modern telling. Julia Stiles in that one, great. But look at his 2001, man. Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor. That's a hell of a run. Plus a couple
Wet
other
Eyes
ones.
all
And
the
then
way
you have
through.
40 Days and 40 Nights, Wet Eyes all the way through. Then you got Hollywood Homicide. And then what I think is also interesting, right, is sort of kind of forgotten with the Lucky Number Slevin piece of it, but he's in Sin City with Bruce Willis.
Oh, right. Okay. There you go.
And then you go and you do Lucky Number Slevin together, so the boys are back in town, but he's also doing the Black Dahlia in 2006, so he is full noir mode between 2005, 2006. But I will say to the leading man point, no, I don't think you can classify him as a noodle boy. When you look at him in Pearl Harbor, when you see him in and Black Hawk Down, that's a guy who seems very sturdy, very muscular. It's not lost on me. They found a way to have him in just a towel for the first 30 minutes of this movie. Give the audience what they want. You want Josh Hartnett out here with the abs and the pecs and all that stuff? Here you go,
And
folks.
they didn't shave the man, which is, that's a rarity. I'm saying for a topless dude, topless dude is either ripped and hairless or hairy and fat. Like there's no, you don't see the happy trail. I was like, oh, that's an interesting, as far as cultural moments go, I did think that's interesting. They didn't shave him.
Right. Yeah. But I think like he has a sort of babyface quality to him that works for this movie.
Babyface, wet eyes.
But it is he as a heartthrob is, I think it's fascinating to see him in this because if you were a Josh Hartnett fan, kind of post 40 Days and 40 Nights, you are a little challenged in what you get out of him, right? Like he's not really giving you that style stuff. It's Sin City, it's Black Dahlia, it's Lucky Number 7, right? It's all kind of thrillers, dark, a little bit gritty, not heartthrob leading man stuff. And, I think that's a very interesting choice for someone to make who essentially the industry was like, you could just do this for the rest of your life if you want to. And instead he goes and kind of cuts his own course and cuts his own path. And then of course, great to see him kind of come back into the mainstream with a tremendous performance in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer a couple of years ago.
It did seem like there was this string where they would take a rough and tumble guy, throw him in one romantic comedy, would do pretty well, or family comedy, and then it was like, okay, let's do 7 more of those. And so
the opposite of that, right?
Do you think that maybe that had the influence where Josh Hartnett was like, oh shit, I'm on that cusp where I'm either gonna get nothing but those, or I can pivot to more interesting shit and have a better career for myself. Not so much on a monetary scale. I'm sure the romantic comedies did gangbusters, but as like I'd feel bad. I could wake up in the morning and look in the mirror. I'm going to go this route instead.
I think I think he talked a lot about this, and I remember some of this, and also just sort of looking into it for the episode, right? He had a lot of discomfort, I think, with where his fame was going and sort of his place at the top of the industry. And so, yes, I think there is very much so an undercurrent in the choices that he makes to move away from the 40 Days, 40 Nights rom-com side, the big budget Pearl Harbor action movie, but it has a heart, into things like a Black Dahlia, like a Lucky Number Slevin that are a little bit more ambiguous, right? I will say you also have folks on the other side of the spectrum, I think most interesting, doing the opposite of what you're describing, moving from rom-coms to action, which most notably is your man from the Taken series what's his name? Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson was not an action guy. Liam Neeson was a rom-com guy, and then he started doing Taken, and then suddenly he's the snowplow action man and all this stuff, right? Like he wasn't that. He had done a lot of different things, but he was doing very, very different style stuff, right? And so I think Hartnett, there's a world that you can do both, but I think you also have to be more comfortable with fame as a leading man than Josh Hartnett ever wanted to be. And so for me,
I remember the other one, Wolverine. Hugh Jackman.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is doing Kate and Leopold at the same time that he is Wolverine. So the idea that you can't do both is very much so not real, but it does absolutely require a very malleable upper echelon talent and individual to maintain that connection with the audience and give them the ability to do both, right? Again, Mel Gibson can do Payback and then in the next year does What Women Want, right?
I'm really hoping that you're not holding What Women Want as like a good movie.
I think it's a movie that represents a lot of things that we're talking about.
Yes,
and I would say
that
I have not said anything about the quality of it whatsoever.
Okay. It is illustrative of the point for sure. It's illustrative of the point.
That said, I think the movie is probably better than you may remember it. And I will say Helen Hunt is also very good in the movie from what I recall.
To be fair.
Does that make it a good movie?
Is she ever not?
You don't remember nothing.
Is she ever not?
Her and Laura Linney, man. Real tough to find a bad performance from those two. And I will say also the other person, though, I feel like we are not giving enough credit for as being a true crossover talent is Will Smith.
You cannot. There's certain names we're going to have to just ban from sidebars. Will Smith is one of them. We cannot. That's a 17-hour conversation, Will Smith.
Yeah, I was just doing a quick little aside. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. He's disallowed from sidebars.
I can't sidebar Will Smith. Absolutely not. I got to be able to talk about Big Willie style on the sidebar.
It's too much going on there, man.
There's another scene specifically that I love here, right, that I think showcases just the interplay and the Kansas City shuffle of it all. It's the chess scene when it's Bruce Willis, Josh Hartnett, Morgan Freeman's characters playing there, right? And the way that they're sharing the information between, Good Cat sharing with the boss, who's then sharing with Josh Hartnett as Slevin, right? And how you're doing it. And even that one sort of 3-person split screen shot. That is what I think is the neo-noir genre at its best, where there is sort of a sense of fun and there can be a sense of self-awareness. It doesn't have to be so ironic in that regard, right? It can be very playful and clever and wink at you about what it's doing. And I think there's definitely a lot of that in terms of how it does its reveals. There's also the piece of how young Bruce Willis, Good Cat, looks with the mustache and the glasses. Yo, son, that's a crazy look. That's a crazy look with the mullet and the aviators and the mustache. You're like, yo, this man definitely all got to be fake hair, son. You can't be actually really living like this. I had this thing because, like you're so used to, I think, present day Bruce Willis being bald, right? And the haircut that he has is Good Cat with a little swoop to swoop going on there. I was like, yo, got a little rascals happening here. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. Is this just what his hair used to look like back in the day? Because then I was thinking about the movie The Kid, where he played, you know the movie I'm talking about, where he, like, his 8-year-old version of himself shows up. It's a Disney movie. We were talking about feel good, heartfelt, comedic Bruce Willis. He could do it all, baby.
I'm sure he could.
But he's got a similar kind of like little like whoop going on there. And I was just like, yo, like you definitely were in the camp of just being like, yeah, I just got to go bald. Like sometimes you got to embrace yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I don't know culturally where he lands with most people. What I know is
Josh Hartnett or Bruce Willis?
Josh Hartnett. No, I know where Bruce Willis stands culturally. I'm not that far out of the fucking loop. But Josh Hartnett, little harder to quantify, but much like I had done in the first episode when you were pitching me, you were like, we got Josh Hartnett. And I was like, ugh. And you were like, what? And then you started listing the man's fucking resume. And then you were like, we got Bruce Willis. We got Morgan Freeman. We got Ben Kingsley. We got Stanley Tucci. And I'm like,
I just want to say, you have now, we're 2 for 2 on episodes where you have revealed me pitching this show in the way that I was like, everyone is going to think this is how I share every movie recommendation to you. Maybe you are right. Maybe you're wrong. But for sure.
2 for 2. Although I think there's probably been instances on this particular, even on this episode, where a movie comes up and I go, I haven't seen that. You go, dog, it's, you're doing this.
I did basically do that with Road to Perdition. So, and you had seen that movie. So I can't say, I'm not beating the allegations anytime soon.
This is Teddy's pitch noise. He slaps his hand and he rattles off the list. And he watches you closely, and if you side eye a single one of the actors mentioned, he'll fucking read you their resume. And again, Encyclopedia Blackety Black over here knows the resume for everybody in the film.
I just have to also point out, Encyclopedia Blackety Black is very complimentary here. In case you're wondering, it's not derogatory. It's all good. It's all fun.
I appreciate that you clarified that on one hand. On the other.
Now you're putting
on kind of the other. I'm thinking like if there was anybody at home that thinks Teddy would not speak up if that didn't work for him.
Well, like you're watching the wrong show.
You don't know Teddy. I'll probably have to cut this as well. Because although the explosion that's about to happen might be worth capturing it. I only know the name from reference, and I have no idea what it means.
Oh, come on! Are you kidding me right now?
I have no idea.
Are you kidding me?
I went by literally the title Encyclopedia Brown. I remember hearing that name, and I was like, that sounds like somebody who has an encyclopedic knowledge of things.
Oh,
that's
my
the extent
God. First
of what
of all, you're
I
not
know
wrong
about Encyclopedia Brown.
You're not wrong. He's probably, first of all, he's probably not ACAB now that I'm really thinking about it, because I'm pretty sure his dad was like the police chief or something like that. Anyway, he was a boy detective. And I will say, right, like I like, this is why I thought he was black, even though they had him on the cover as a white dude. This boy's name was Leroy Encyclopedia Brown. You telling me that's not the black ass name? Come on, man. Huh? Leroy Brown? Leroy Encyclopedia Brown?
Baddest man in the whole damn town? Better than a junkyard dog? All right, so far we've gotten into the first minute of the film. I will say one of the things that's right. I'm glad I rewatched it again last night, because so much happens in the first minute, 2 minutes, whatever, that, I mean, 5 different people are killed in the first minute.
Yeah.
And you don't find out why the hell they showed that, who the fuck they are, significance. Mm-hmm. It happens so quickly and so kind of, hey, there's going to be murder in this movie is kind of the vibe. You're like, is that, why are you showing
a murder? No. There is going to be a bevy of murders.
Oh, yes.
Unrelenting murders in this movie.
So
everybody can get it.
It's certainly an interesting way to start off a film where you're like, who are these people that are dying on screen? Right. Is it the same person killing them?
And then
is it,
and then who is this guy in the terminal that is having a conversation? Oh, he's going to be around for a while? Nope. You go on too.
Yeah. I didn't see
No, and then you're back.
Bruce
then
Willis
you're back.
snapping his neck out of nowhere.
You didn't see the Kansas City Shuffle? You didn't see the Kansas City Shuffle happening? That's the beauty of the shuffle, baby. Play the song right now. Of course you didn't see him snapping his neck. That's why they call it the Kansas City Shuffle. If you could see it, they'd be calling it the damn Des Moines Shuffle. No disrespect to Des Moines.
Oh, I skipped right over this. How did this end up on your radar in the first place? Do you remember when you first saw it?
Yeah, I saw the trailers for this because this would have been towards the end of college.
Yeah.
And I
You were the age when this came out. You were the age I was when I saw Payback.
Yeah, basically. And I remember being like, damn, everybody's in this bitch. And then
You guys got
I
Gandhi?
also had to Gandhi and Lucius Fox. Shawshank. But I was not a Josh Hartnett fan. I had the same thing. I was like, yo, the guy with the eyes. I don't fuck with this dude, man. I don't give a fuck about 40 Days, 40 Nights. Whatever. But the trailer was real slick. It was cool. It seemed like a real cool thing. I feel like I was maybe one of like 15 people in the country who actually like watched the trailer and the commercials and was like, yo, I fuck with this. And so I remember seeing it and it just was, and then I like the execution of Kansas City Shuffle from beginning to end was so like a gravitational thing for me. It's so rare that something happens and it just like immediately enters your lexicon. But that was it for this movie with me. I was like, it's so well crafted. It's so well acted. And this concept that seems like it's just an ephemeral thing is so central to everything that is happening here. And it is the way that you would have to do it. You would have to be able to do and I will also say, my dad, right, when we were growing up, and he would be sort of trying to teach me, how to have, boxing, right? It's the life skills kind of thing that a dad would do. Hey, motherfucker, people gonna try and beat you up out here. Yeah, so you gotta pay attention to shit. And so he was very fond of watch the right, bop, and then get you with the left. And so when I was watching this, it was like, oh, this is the shit that my dad was basically, I wish I could have told him about this movie and the Kansas City Shuffle, because he would have been like, yeah, that's the shit I've been beating your ass with. I've been Kansas City shuffling your ass since you were 6. And I'd be like, well, we didn't have a name for it, man. But yeah, like he very much so was on
We're going
that.
to a tattoo parlor
that
right
was a
now to
thing.
get that on.
He very much so was, watch the left. And so bop, and then it was that thing of like, okay, now I'm watching both. And so now you're playing in the same space that the movie kind of puts you in. Right. And that's what I would say. One of my favorite, sort of little beats that happens, in the movie is, where I can't remember which character they're talking about. It's like, what about Smith? And he's like, I haven't quite figured him out yet, right? And it's that Greek chorus thing where it's sort of winking and nodding as you, as the audience, being like, okay, to you, right? What's Bruce Willis? What's this connection kind of thing, right? And some movies, it doesn't necessarily
yeah. That
work.
was in when Stanley Tucci is the restaurant, and he's
yes.
He's like,
And he's talking about Bruce Willis's character, right? Yeah. and he's
I think he was talking.
No, it's Lucy Liu. It's Lucy Liu talking to. It's Lucy Liu is talking. Yeah, to Josh Hartnett about it when she takes the picture. That's around that time.
I swore it was. I thought it was,
or maybe it is.
Stanley Tucci's on the headset, and he's explaining the cast of characters in the restaurant. And they were like,
that's right. Yes.
So
yes,
who's
yes,
this guy?
yes.
What does he have to do? And he goes, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's why he.
Yeah. That's
why he gets him in the
that
bathroom.
kind of thing, right? Right. And so that's where you see that kind of interplay that I think is very fascinating. It's something that I think, always has been, interesting. And I would say probably, When you look at the comedy, right? I'm sure you can attest to this. Is there's a lot of what I love about the craft of comedy, right? Is the zigging instead of zagging, right? It is being able to take people in that unexpected direction. It is a punchline, a reveal and a setup that is a misdirection in that sense. And so that is always something that has been very fascinating to me, and I would say very essential to how I approach my writing and specifically my comedic craft. And this movie is, I think, one of the best, not just for this genre, right, in terms of the neo-noir stuff, but as just, actually, like in general, one of my favorite movies because it is so taut at that interplay and the way that it does these sort of juxtapositions, right?
Much like I said with 1408, I don't show people the trailer, I show that scene in The Office. For this movie, the trailer should have been the minute, like just take kind of any minute out of when Slevin meets the boss. And he says, I'm not who you're looking for. And he goes, well, how do you know who I'm looking for? How do you know that I'm not who you, whatever. And he says that line, he says, suppose I wanted to give you $96,000. I got the right guy now. And he goes, do you want to give me $96,000? And he goes, do you want to give me $96,000? Because I'm getting the feeling that I owe you $96,000. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Do you have $96,000? He goes, I might have it a little shy. And he goes, all right, call it 90. He goes, I may have over exaggerated, kind of shy. You know what I mean? That exchange is, that's why I come to this place. That's what I go to the movies for.
Don't you dare.
That's what I go to the movies for is dialogue like that. That's like my favorite thing in the world in movies. The
interplay,
the clever dialogue. That's not too clever,
Right.
I think that, for example,
it's not too cute by half.
Exactly.
Like, it's not
I was actually
to
going
do
to say
too
that
much.
exact phrase, but it's like Quentin Tarantino is famous for that. He jerks off to dialogue scenes, and
the references become so self-referential.
It's like sometimes he really nails it. Certain times he really nails it, and then sometimes you can smell him getting high on his own excretory behavior, where you're like, dude, nobody would ever talk like this. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
Right. Yeah.
That's where it's the too cute by half. But when it's played well, it's just a delight to watch. A master of writing dialogue, for example, is, I think, Stephen King. He's really good at two strangers talking and sort of doing exposition by way of their dialogue.
Feeling each other out. Yeah. Like, I'm doing exposition, but I'm also sussing out key details. Right. I will say the other thing here that this movie reminded me of, right? Like the setup for how we get Slevin and all that stuff, right? At the very beginning, and the horse race and all that, and then how it all kind of ties back together. I know I'm not trying to get to the end yet, but I will say, there's the scene at the beginning that reminded me of one of my favorite memes. And I'm sure, I don't know if you know this meme or not. But you know the scene where she's trying to get the information for the horse race, right? And we're doing the whole like game of telephone where she finds out the horse and she's having sex with the dude or whatever.
What was the name of that horse again?
Right. And so, like, it's crazy, I'm sitting there watching with Jillian, and we out here, being like, fucking for horse names is crazy, son. But it reminded me of the classic, the tweet from almost 10 years ago now.
Good. We can talk about it.
Where she goes, she says, ew, she fucked the weed man for weed, a bitch that's fucking the text man for text.
Yeah.
A classic text, a cultural touch point of our times here.
Now, I had mentioned this when we walked out of Sinners. I'm not going to talk about that or spoil that in any way, but at one point I said to you, now see, this is the thing that annoys me about movie mobsters is the lack of foresight. And that's very much on display here when the man bets 20 grand on a horse. And if he loses, he'll owe 22. Okay. That's more obviously that he's going to have because 20 grand is quite a fucking lot in whatever 1970 something or other. Probably 90, 100 grand now.
Oh, you didn't run the inflation calculator on that, but you ran it through Lucy Lou's dog.
They didn't give me a year. They didn't give me a year.
Payback, you had the damn line item.
If you give me a year, I can do it. If you don't give me a year, I got nothing. I built my own app. I built my own app for that.
You got the Silk Road inflation calculator? What kind of shit? I'm saying like let's call it like 80 81?
81? Okay, 20.
Early 80s. Let's say early 80s.
Let's say 81, 20 grand, 81, 71.5. So yeah.
All right.
You know. Okay. So, you know, that's a sizable chunk of money for a guy who's waiting for his number to come up. That's life savings, right?
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. So he puts 20. That'll get your family killed for sure. Well, so this is my thing, though, right? He puts down 20. He says you'll owe 22 if this doesn't come up. You'll owe 22 to the kind of people you don't want to owe 22 grand to. He walks out of the horse race to the parking lot. Car and son are gone. They were fucking quick. Usually you give a guy a week. Can you pay it? Now you owe us favors, et cetera, et cetera. They went right for kidnap the son, kill the wife. You don't know if he's got a couple of fuck you bucks stashed in his hoo-ha. You know, I mean, saying like,
what's funny is that
immediately you kill this man's family. Immediately. He's coming out to get his car. You didn't even fucking wait for him to say, I don't have the money. You just fucking immediately steal his son, kill his wife.
Great. Okay, because like, all right, now we're like, all right, so like, yo, they kill the son, they kill the wife, son, they kill the horse, bro.
This dude might have been a really good foot soldier. I'm saying the lack of foresight. You don't know what this man would have done on your behalf to pay off that debt. You could have had this man
this is
for
very
life.
Different.
But no.
This is very different from Payback, where we talking about they done kidnapped his son, right? And he out here wilding, and you like, yo, you gotta. Chris Christopherson's like, I might keep you alive for a week, son. Like that's fine. We can jump to that point there. We've escalated enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, you saying we coming out the gate real hot right now. All
he literally is walking to his car after the race. You give the guy what? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. And you immediately are like, all right, kill his wife, grab the son, grab him, put him in a warehouse, find out how he found out about this race, but in the meantime, kill the wife and kidnap the son and steal his car. Like, I mean, immediately. No time.
I mean, but look,
no time
because they had to teach
man.
him a lesson, though. They had to teach him a lesson, though, right? That's the whole thing.
There's a lot of ways to teach a man a lesson that doesn't involve killing a man's whole family with no chance to get something in return. Real mob shit is you owe me like the mob, like in the first Christopher Nolan Batman.
That's not how the boss moves, though, man. That's not how the boss moves.
Somebody's like, "How much do I owe you?" He goes, "No. What interests me is favors." Like that's the mob.
Yeah.
What interests me is favors.
Sure, yes.
Favors are worth
not vengeance.
Much. No, favors are worth so much more. So much more.
Yeah, can't cash in no favors.
That's what I'm saying. Like in The Sopranos, fucking every goddamn person you run into is fucking upside down on some mob loan or other, and it's like, what do you got? Sporting goods store? That's my sporting goods store. What do you got? You know, like whatever you got. What do you got? A position in Congress? My position in Congress. Like whatever it is, I got that now because you are in with me.
You're saying you would have leaned on them and you would have made them. Now, here's the thing that I think is very fascinating about what you're
if I'm the boss, right? Which I'm not, but if I'm the boss,
yeah.
If I'm the boss and I find out about this, you know, Johnny Know Nothing, who found out something and put 20 and is into me for 22 grand. I'm thinking, all right, this dude probably got nothing else. He probably can't. He's the stone you can't squeeze blood from, I believe is the term. I'm going, okay, this is a man who probably is not used to working with my level of fuck around and find out. So yeah, kidnap that dude, put him in a warehouse, whack upside the head a little bit, break a toe.
Show him that actions have consequences.
Yeah. Put the fear of God into him, break something, send him home with some bruises. And I go, all right, listen, this is how this shit works. All right. I'm going to lay it out real easy for you. He's going to be blindfolded, by the way, obviously. He can't identify me. And I'm going to go, what do you do for work?
Naturally,
what are your skills? What are your who do you work with? What industry are you in? You run an auto mechanic shop? Great. You're fixing all our cars for free. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to bring you.
I'm plugging you into the syndicate, and now you're my guy.
I'm bringing you 5 stolen cars a week. You're going to swap out VINs and reset the odometer for me. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is. Like, that dude, you own that man now. He doesn't have 22 grand. Yes. Killing the wife and the kid seems, it's a lack of foresight. I will say, by and large, when you've recommended movies to me, you don't necessarily pitch any plot points, but I go on vibes and titles and things like, and cast. And many times I'm like, oh, this is not the movie that I thought it was. And Slevin very much is not the movie I thought it was. I also mixed up.
Did I hit you with a Kansas City shuffle? Bow, 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 bow.
I also mixed it up in my head, where you sort of mixed up Ransom and Payback. I mixed up X versus Sever and Lucky Number Slevin. So,
the Lucy Liu ballistics joint or whatever.
Yeah,
Lord, how you mix that up with Banderas?
X versus Sever is also a shitty title.
Ballistic X versus Sever. Sir, if we're gonna say the name,
I didn't know it was.
It's got a full name. Say the full name.
I thought it was just X versus Sever. It's just
No,
it's not a movie I'm going to go see. Okay,
we're gonna see it for this podcast probably at some point because it definitely needs to be retrospected up. But that's a tough break to mix that up with Lucky Number Slevin, and I do understand why you would be a little hesitant on that.
Yeah, you didn't tell me it's a noir, right? Because
that's a Lucy Liu joint,
Pulp Fiction-esque sort of.
Well, now that I know I got to pitch that for you, now that I know I got to pitch it that way. But I do think this is right. Like, that is very interesting of Lucy Liu. Like, she is in one of the worst movies of the 2000s in Ballistic and X versus Sever. But then she's also in Chicago and then follows that up with Charlie's Angel and then Kill Bill, right? Mm-hmm. So hell of a run. But then I think she is kind of towards the tail end of that main stuff. I think she's in Kung Fu Panda, right? But I think you say you kind of are. The animated piece doesn't necessarily always carry as much weight unless we're talking about something like Frozen or whatever. I think this is where, Lucy Liu, right, sort of cultural second act, or not necessarily sure how you want to describe it, but, when she's not doing the movies and stuff, it's not like she was just disappeared. Like, Josh Hartnett was kind of really not prominent after the movies faded away, and the stuff that he didn't really have any sort of, mainstream recognition or whatever, right? Not to say that he wasn't necessarily working, but he really wasn't trying to take the sort of big in front of you cultural swings that we are sort of really diving into here. Mm-hmm. Whereas, Lucy Liu did 100+ episodes of Elementary, where she played Watson on the CBS show Elementary around the same time that they were doing the Sherlock thing for BBC, where I think Benedict Cumberbatch had done his stuff or whatever. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, just letting you go.
Right, exactly. Because she was on one of these shows on CBS that gets no actual water cooler discussion. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get any prestige recognition. There's no essays in any of the big cultural magazines or whatever, but people just watch it for years upon years, and they have Lucy Liu in their home week after week after week. So that's where it's sort of a little bit of a disconnect, because it's like, okay, was Lucy Liu at the apex of her Charlie's Angels, Kill Bill, MTV Movie Awards fame? Not really anymore, because a lot of that shit doesn't exist. But does that mean that Lucy Liu hasn't been still very famous and culturally relevant and present in a major way with those same people outside of sort of the, traditional movie structure? She's been great. She's been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where it's really interesting to see the evolution of her in a 7-year times period, where then, you jump ahead another 5 or 6 years, and okay, she's maybe kind of been in a little bit of a cultural meandering place, and she's doing Kung Fu Panda, but whatever. Mitch doesn't give a shit about it. All right, well, now I'm out here getting them CBS syndicated residual checks for Elementary. What up, Watson?
Mm-hmm. Ben Kingsley is an interesting choice. I'll say that. Like, that's not a guy, that's a guy who had huge cultural moments kind of early in his career.
The thing that I think that maybe you might get a reference to, because it does feel like this is a movie that there's a couple of things. First of all, if you're under 35, you're going to refer to Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin from Iron Man. That's what you know him as. He's in that new Wonder Man series on Disney Plus. With his name escapes me right now, but he played Dr. Manhattan. He's phenomenal. But he's back as the Mandarin.
Mandarin or Mandalorian?
MC, the Mandarin in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, okay.
He was a villain in Iron Man 3, and now that guy is coming back for a new series. So that's kind of where you would probably say you know him from, is in the MCU.
Okay.
I would otherwise say probably it is. I'm not going to give the Jungle Book live action movie any credit here, because he plays the voice in that. But I would say Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio, because he's the main doctor in that. And you see a lot of those edits and clips make their way around social media with the reveal and underappreciated Leonardo DiCaprio movie and blah, 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 blah. Do they know that is Ben Kingsley? I would doubt it, right? I don't know if that really...
what you're saying.
They know the face, and then they also probably go, oh, that's the Mandarin. That's probably what we're dealing with here now. So that is sort of
but
Ben
2006
Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley... how recently was he culturally relevant in 2006, other than a stint?
I don't think he was that
on this side of the.
I think by 2006,
on this side of the pond.
On this side of the pond, no. Ben Kingsley is sort of in that cultural wasteland, call it. Not to say that he's not doing work, but is Ben Kingsley moving the cultural needle with anything major? Like, we're pretty far removed from stuff like Schindler's List or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're almost 10 years plus from that. And if you look at what he's doing, there's not really necessarily, it's probably, House of Sand and Fog. That's it, because it got some ass. That was where he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor, and that was in 2003. But did anybody see that movie?
Probably.
No disrespect.
It's one of those. You're saying it's one of those, like the Oscar bait movie that people are, I should see that. Like that.
It is probably a tragic story concerning the battle between a former drug addict and an immigrant American Iranian family over the ownership of a house in Northern California, which ultimately leads to the destruction of 5 lives, based on a novel of the same name.
Yeah, okay. So, Oscar bait movie that people
earned $17 million against a $16 million budget.
Okay, yeah. So 12 people.
Best actor nom, best supporting actress, best original score. So
the audience was exclusively Oscar voters, and nobody else.
Yes, they wasn't watching, seeing nothing whatsoever.
Yeah. So, convoluted plot, hard. This is one I do think you gotta do like an initial watch, and then go back and do it again now that you know what's going on, to go, oh, that's who they killed in the beginning, or whatever the fuck.
I think it definitely hits. It definitely is one of those where a rewatch it lands, and it even sort of performs better with you, right? Because you're in on the con, and everything kind of makes sense a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing, really, when you get down to it, is it's like, okay, you got 2 guys locked in their isolated towers, but they're surrounded by people that they constantly send out to bring them in other people, which, we're not talking about like a huge crew. We're not talking like 30 guys. We're talking like they each got 2 dudes. And you're like, you're putting your entire you're so afraid to leave the house, but you're putting all that in
a lot of trust.
2 dudes that you're hoping are just indestructible and not wearing bulletproof vests, not wearing head-to-toe Kevlar with a helmet.
Which reminds me of one of my favorite lines in the whole movie of, how'd you find out about us? And Good Cat goes, I'm a world-class assassin, fuckhead.
Yeah.
And that's just, that's it, right? I guess that's the ethos that you're operating here with, man. I'd have a few more people on the payroll if that was who I was out here operating with. I think they also each have very interesting approaches to the world, right? But like the scene that we're talking about now towards the end when they're tied together, and I think one of my favorite.
Go ahead, because I think we probably land on the same. I think we probably land on the same line, but
when Morgan Freeman is walking through it, and your son is dead. He's dead, and he just starts cackling.
I wrote it down at the because obviously it didn't occur to me the first time I watched it, but it definitely hit harder the second time. Is that Ben Kingsley wakes up in that chair in the boss's place? Mm-hmm. He thinks the boss tied him up, has no idea that 3 inches behind him,
he's behind him,
the boss, tied to the same set of chairs, and nonchalantly mentions Ben Kingsley's son, or the rabbi's son, is dead. And the rabbi's like, you're making up bullshit now.
Right.
Here it is. Look at my face. Look at my smile. Your son is dead.
Yeah.
I wrote that line alone is worth the price of admission. His delivery of look at my face. Look at my smile. Is like, oh, that's some cold shit.
And the eyes, the glint, the pure, unbridled, unadulterated joy in the boss's face as he says it. He said, I don't give a damn what happens to me after this moment. Ironically, he gives many damns, basically. But that satisfaction for him, right? Which I think is also incredible in the sense of, when he finally applies the same treatment to them that was applied to his dad as Slevin does. And the rabbi has this, keep calm, carry on sort of acceptance of the fate while the boss is struggling and doing it. Right. For the guy who just sort of walked through that whole thing, can't accept that, like, that's it, buddy. Like, you got what you wanted and everything else is done. And then this other guy is over here taking this devastating news in stride and just sort of ending his life in the most like, well, that's it, but truly, you gotta imagine Morgan Freeman has not been asked to deliver a line like that in an eternity in his new Hollywood bearing. He out here doing the Driving Miss Daisy stuff and playing the president. He out here telling nobody in their face, your son is dead.
Yeah.
Gleeful.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's such an incredible scene.
It's also what gets me about that line is, and where it's like the brilliance of that line and of course the delivery is that the first time I saw it, I was thinking, how would you convince this guy that you're not lying in this moment? That's the only way. Right. The only thing that works is look how fucking happy I am. I know I'm about to die,
and you know it.
Look,
and you know it.
You can see in my look at my happy eyes.
We've never been this close to each other in 20 years, and you can tell I'm not bullshitting you. Your boy is dead. It's the same thing, right? Same thing that Johnny was getting Chris Christopherson over there in Payback with, right? When he does a thing and he immediately stands up after he realizes that Johnny's in trouble and all that shit or whatever. But yeah, it's like, he's done.
Yeah, when you talk about when Mel Gibson reads the inscription or doesn't read the inscription, he just says, "Nice inscription." It's a little sappy. You want me to read it?
Yeah,
like he goes, "Oh shit, you're not lying." The only proof that I needed is that you got the fucking keychain. The only way you're getting that keychain off of that kid
is if you got him.
Is if you got the kid. Yeah. He's not tossing you the keys. The one thing that not the one thing, the other thing, because the one thing is again the lack of foresight to not get favors out of the father. The other one, I don't care for the plot point of the fake kill of Lucy Liu. Not saying
she has to die
because she's got a grainy side profile of a dude in an elevator.
Yeah, she saw my face and she took a picture. Son, what?
So you saw
I'm
a
world-class assassin, fuckhead.
You saw a guy.
You gotta die. No. You're doing too much.
No.
But you saw the guy that knows that you are him. I know that you don't know that I know that you're talking to my guy. You gotta die. And here's the thing. You also need it for the beautiful sentiment of the end where Good Cat, Slevin's out here being like, I didn't think you'd understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to see one more montage of mullet, mustache, aviator Bruce Willis taking the kid. And then listening to Bob on the radio.
You could have
a
slightly better.
Mitch, she gotta die. She saw him, son.
She
saw me.
I'm letting you have that. But I'm saying that a slightly better scene is that he flat out says she gotta die. Like maybe he's at the door, ready to pop it open to hit her.
He says it towards the end.
I'm saying.
He says it towards the end.
I'm saying.
When he comes in the hallway, he goes, she saw my face, kid.
I understand. I'm saying that.
He gotta explicitly say she gotta die. That's what you need.
I'm saying he's a half a second away from pulling the trigger. And Hartnett gives him the "you took a chance on me" speech. And Bruce Willis then goes, all right, fair enough. Touche. Puts the gun down, walks away. That makes more sense to me than you take a shot from halfway across the room, center of body mass. When you've already warned Josh Hartnett that you're going to kill his girl, the odds of her wearing a bulletproof vest are pretty fucking high at that point.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they that high?
They're very high.
You think they're that high?
If you know they're together, you know they're together. You just told him, I'm going to kill this woman you rapidly fell in love with. I know how movie love works, but I'll allow it. You told him, I'm taking out this new love of your life. You know he's gonna prepare. You're
telling me the world-class assassin is out here being like, yo, she gonna put the bulletproof vest on and I gotta go for the headshot this time.
Of course. Because look, she's busy at work. You could walk into that room real quick, like pop back of the head. There's no reason to speak to her so that she turns so that you can shoot her in the chest, which again, you know she's wearing a bulletproof vest. Maybe he did know she's wearing a bulletproof vest, but he still has to like scare her a little bit so that to legitimize Josh Hartnett saying he's gonna kill you, I'm gonna save you, I'm your hero, and therefore they can fall in love and he's my hero and things like that. That I would buy, that I would allow, but that was not the subtext that was given. So it just
it's a little that he pulled his own Kansas City shuffle.
It's a little shaky.
Like that.
It's
you
a
don't
little
like
shaky.
That. All right, I'll acknowledge here.
Look, you gave me so many Kansas City shuffles throughout this grand, so many of them. I'm just like, you don't need to one more thing on me like that.
You could have just landed the plane with a straightforward confrontation, and then he goes, and then he still says, "I would have understood because I did it for you." That's what you
something like that.
That is a very good beat of Good Cat being like, "Of course I would have understood. I did it. I already did it.
Yeah.
I did the same thing."
I'm saying,
right?
We understand the
saying we got there
arc that he's trying to have. I get that. It all makes sense in that regard. If you have to, because you got a grainy sideways photo of him on an elevator. If that has to be the thing that takes her down, I'm just saying, I don't think the elaborate him pulling a Kansas City shuffle on Bruce Willis, that just seems convoluted. It's a little like
it absolutely has to be the thing, Mitch. It absolutely has to be the thing. And I will just say this: it reminds me of, again, part of a very good B movie that is enjoyably bad. Snakes on a Plane, and the whole catalyst, remember, is that he witnesses the thing, and there's the amazing scene when the boss is sort of commissioning the snakes to be on the plane, and he's telling the goons to go and do it, and they're just sort of looking at him. What does he yell at them after taking a beat? He goes, "He saw me!"
I'm saying, you go to the. Go to the.
That
cops.
is the code of the street. I am the head of a crime syndicate.
I'm Lucy Liu.
You can't see my face.
I'm Lucy Liu.
I'm a world class assassin.
I'm Lucy Liu. I walk into the head of the whatever city PD, and I say, I'd like to talk to the boss man. Have I got a fucking smoking gun? And he's like, what you got? I'm like, this grainy side profile shot of a guy in an elevator. That's the smoking gun. And they'd be like, who is that? What are you talking about?
You don't know. They could clean that shit up. You don't know what kind of government technology exists with up there.
I took a photo of a guy in the elevator. Doesn't show me anything. What proof is that? I took a photo of a guy in an elevator. So what? Nothing happened in that elevator. Nothing happened in that building. Nothing happened that day. You just took a photo of a guy in an elevator. What is that? Who's at risk?
What happened is you took a photo of a guy in an elevator who is very preoccupied with people not taking photos of him on an elevator. That's what happened.
But nobody knows who.
You moved over to
They
tripwire.
already don't know what he looks like.
Yes, one guy knows. The guy who knows. They know. Hello, they know. I know. Me know. The last note I will say on the Lucy Liu front, right, is that when they go to the scene, they go on a date, when he asks her out, I gotta give her credit for going to town on that noodles. Pasta.
Yeah.
So that's a first date, and she was out here not giving a damn. Yo, she went for it. And Slevin was like, this is the girl. I gotta save your life. I gotta watch this kind of aggressive noodle eating all the time. But I saw that, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's bold.
Yeah.
That might be the boldest thing in the whole movie.
In that dress, no less. I mean, she was like, this is a date. I'm dressing up. I appreciate that. I'm getting real tired
and also
of wearing a suit on a date. Somebody shows up in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm getting real tired of that shit. Listen, I know we swiped on an app, but put a little.
Oh, now we're getting into anecdotal. Okay, I thought I thought you were talking as Lucy Liu, but then you shifted into yourself.
This is just me. Okay, you know. Yeah. So the nails are done, the hair's done. She's got a good dress on. I'm not saying she's dressed for a gala event, but she's dressed for a nice date at a restaurant, and she fucking housing them.
It's a first date. She's dressed up for a first date. She's great. I mean, God bless her. She went out there for the noodles.
I'd be the happiest man in the world. Sitting across.
You would. How you feel if your date go that aggressively at the noodles on the first date? Like y'all been talking, so y'all know each other a little bit. But it's your first formal date. You'd be great.
Oh my God.
You'd be like, yeah.
You're wearing a dress and you're housing some noodles. Let's do this.
I like how you have encountered people who are just not dressing up for and for folks at home, y'all obviously don't necessarily notice man the way I notice man. Y'all don't really notice man at all. Maybe you've only been listening to 2 episodes now. But Mitch loves some good formal attire, particularly for events where you're going out, dressing up, looking nice. Mitch is a real fix-up, look sharp kind of guy. We go out for this man's birthday. You know, all he asks is for the homies to come out with a nice little sports coat on, a little bit of the formal attire, whatever, all right? So you showing up on a date with Mitch, you out here looking like, the Converse on or whatever. He don't want no Harriet the Spy look out here. Come on, put a dress on. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want.
No disrespect to Harriet the Spy.
I've gotten
great series.
I've gotten on 3 separate occasions. I just came from the gym. What are you doing? It's Thursday. We talked about this on Monday. Come on. Admittedly, I will say I don't do a lot of. I haven't done a dinner first date in a long time. But if I had met somebody in person and we had cool banter and shit like they had, that's a different story. That's where I'm like,
you would have done it. You would have pulled the Slevin.
We can do a dinner, but like off of a dating app, a dinner's a bit of a commitment.
So if we go back to the 06 dating method and you meet somebody in person at a bar, concert.
I've been online dating since 1996 when it was dangerous.
Mitch, we know you. I was out here online dating when Dateline was doing specials every week. You know how fucking
before Dateline even knew about it. That's what I'm saying. We agreed that 52%, 53 on Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic.
Criminally underrated film. Criminally underrated.
What's your letterboxd on this one?
I gave this one 4.5.
Okay.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
I can't quite put it in the 5 category, but I think Lucky Number Slevin holds up. It's really, really great. Cast is tremendous, writing's tremendous, the actual, everything is great about this film. Just a really great movie that I think kind of got washed out because you had Kiss Kiss Bang Bang come out the year before, and people may have just been a little bit exhausted by that. And I think the double whammy of Josh Hartnett playing very against type, everyone playing against type, right? Like nobody's audience is sort of coming to Lucky Number Slevin, except maybe Bruce Willis's. But, a lot of people are playing against type.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it a strong 4. Yeah. I feel good on a 4. Yeah, I agree. Hidden gem. Both the hidden and the gem part of that.
There it is. Yes. Yeah.
So
that is. See, 2 for 2 right now. I mean, I guess Mothman is less
4 for 4, I would say.
Be Lucky Number Slevin over that. Yeah, we got good solid picks. Can't wait to hear what people think about the releases so far. Judge away. And would you eat noodles aggressively on a first date with Mitch? You can drop that in the comments too.
Yeah.